B-final for the Schoolboy single scull, and we have in lane number 1 Brisbane State High, Lachlan Donchak. Hutchins in lane number 2, Thomas Vermey, Isaac Game of Anglican Church Grammar School in lane number 3, Jack Bowser of Coomera Anglican in lane 4. Lane 5, Pembroke School, Nick Blackman. Lane 6, St Ignatius College in Sydney is Thomas Benson. Daniel Webb of St Joseph's Nudgee College in lane number 7, and in lane 8, Tal Lewis of Sydney Secondary College, Blackwattle Bay campus.
And they're approaching 1,500 metres gone now in the B final of the Schoolboys single scull. At the halfway mark, it was the Churchy sculler Isaac Game over in lane 3 who led. He overtook Coomera Anglican's Jack Bowser in the second 500 metres. So Isaac Game in 3 from Jack Bowser in 4. And it remains that way as they go through 1,500 now. The Anglican Church Grammar School sculler Isaac Game continues to be our race leader. 5:42.50 his time, and a considerable lead, 4.41 seconds now over the Pembroke School sculler Nick Blackman, who's moved up into second place now. Pembroke School from Adelaide in lane 5 there in second place, and in between those two is Jack Bowser from Coomera Anglican, coached by Lincoln Hanley, who was the race leader after 500 metres, back into second at halfway, and now in third place, and also under challenge from the Hutchins sculler Thomas Vermey over in lane 2. And he will be there in 4th spot, still probably a little margin away from 3rd. And a bit of a gap back then to our remaining 4 scullers, Thomas Benson of St Ignatius, Tal Lewis of Sydney Secondary College, Daniel Webb of Nudgee College, and Lachlan Donchak of Brisbane State High School. And it's Isaac Game of the Anglican Church Grammar School in Brisbane, better known as Churchy. And they still leads this race. The margin being reduced somewhat, I would think, by the South Australian sculler Nick Blackman of the Pembroke School, who's come from 4.4 seconds down after 1,500 to really challenge Isaac Game here in the closing strokes. And Game has seen the need to lift his game. He's stepped the rating up and is looking to hold on still by a length or so from this fast-finishing South Australian sculler Nick Blackman of the Pembroke Schools, coached by Simon Lane and Darren Potts. But still it is Isaac Game in the bright orange cap for the Anglican Church Grammar School in Brisbane, who leads this race in lane 3 by a length or so from the Pembroke Schools. Nick Blackman in 3rd. In 2nd, moving up into 3rd is lane 2, Thomas Vermey from Hutchins, ahead of lane 4. But Isaac Game will take the B final for Churchy by about 2/3 of a length. Isaac Game wins the B final. 2nd goes to Nick Blackman of Pembroke. 3rd is Hutchins in lane 2. 4th will be lane 4, Coomera Anglican. 5th then, Sydney Secondary College, ahead of St Ignatius in 6th place. 7th will be Nudgee College, and 8th on the far side, Brisbane State High School.
Unofficial results of the B final of the Schoolboys single scull. 1st place, Anglican Church Grammar School, Isaac Game. 2nd, Pembroke School, Nick Blackman. 3rd, Hutchins, Thomas Vermey. 4th, Coomera Anglican, Jack Bowser. 5th, Sydney Secondary College, Tal Lewis. 6th, St Ignatius College, Thomas Benson. 7th, St Joseph's Nudgee College, Daniel Webb. And in 8th, Brisbane State High, Lachlan Donchak. The unofficial time, 7:37.87. And margins 1.04 and 5.73. Schoolgirl 4B final is on the course and moving up towards the 1,000 metre mark. The start list that we have in lane number 1, Lauriston Girls. Lane 2, Friends School. Lane 3, Seymour College. Lane 4, Ballarat and Clarendon College. Lane 5, Shelford Girls Grammar. Lane 6, Pymble Ladies College. Lane 7, Melbourne Girls College. And in lane 8, Ballarat and Clarendon College.
It was the sole New South Wales representative in this final, the crew from Pymble Ladies, who led after 500 metres, but at halfway it was Shelford Girls Grammar School from Melbourne who had assumed the lead by just under a length, 2.25 seconds to Shelford there in lane 5, ahead of Pymble Ladies beside them in lane 6. So the two crews showing out in front on screen there. It's still Shelford by around about 3/4 of a length, just stretching it out to almost a complete length now as they head up with about 800 or so metres to race. So Shelford in 3:52.36 at halfway, 2 1/4 seconds from Pinball Ladies, and Ballarat Clarendon, Melbourne Girls College, Seymour College from South Australia, Ballarat Clarendon, the Friends School of Tasmania, and Lauriston Girls School from Melbourne there in lane 1 on the far side of the course in 8th place at the halfway point of this race. So it's the B final of the Schoolgirls Cox 4 in racing for positions 9 through to 16. The A finals of these events to follow in a little while as well. Just after 10 o'clock we begin the A finals of the school events, but the B finals to keep us occupied for now, and Shelford Girls Grammar School making the best of this race. They are gone clear by probably 1.25 lengths now over Pinball Ladies beside them in second place. The Shelford crew of Clancy Grant, Eliza Jagger, Rachel Lendon, Frankie Morgan, Anna McConville the cox, and Julian Whitehead the coach. And they are holding on by clear water now from Pinball Ladies in second place. Matilda Pennington, Hannah Reeve, Samantha Robinson, Abigail Irving, coxed by Isabella Koenig-Wood, coached by Kendall Brody and Richard Alsop. And it's Shelford first through the 1,500 metre mark in the B final of the Schoolgirls Cox 4. Shelford first, 5:52.42 that time, and 4 3/4 seconds exactly over Pinball Ladies in second place. And then Ballarat Clarendon would be in third ahead of Melbourne Girls College, Seymour College. Ballarat Clarendon, again their lane 8, it would be in sixth place with the two crews from Ballarat Clarendon in this race, and Friends and Lauriston Girls, lanes 2 and 1 in 7th and 8th. The third place crew from Ballarat Clarendon is the lane 4 combination, Yelena Black, Eddie Eppingstall, Emily Richardson, Phoebe Cameron and Afton Whitfield in that crew, lane 4. So lane 6, lanes 5, 6 and 4, our top 3 as they close in on the finish now. Just over 2:50 to race in the B final of the Schoolgirls Cox 4. And it's still Shelford Girls Grammar School, our race leaders. Pinball Ladies on this side of them. And the crew then on their stroke side, the one from Ballarat Clarendon, lane 4, with Phoebe Cameron there in the stroke seat of that crew, who continue to be our top 3. Melbourne Girls College probably 4th on this side, then Seymour College. Then the second crew from Ballarat Clarendon with Zoe Cowan in the stroke seat, and Friends lane 2, and Lauriston Girls in lane 1. Our leaders approaching the finish as they come down in literally perfect arrow formation here. Of course, the seated crews, the higher ranked crews in the central lanes, and Shelford Girls Grammar School lane 5 doing it fairly easily now in the closing strokes. It's a good race for second. Pinball and Ballarat Clarendon, who are coming at them with every stroke and trying to move up to take 10th spot overall in the Schoolgirls Cox 4, and they might be about to do exactly that. But Shelford Girls Grammar School, our race leaders, still by clear water. Pinball Ladies or Ballarat Clarendon for second and third. Then Melbourne Girls College and Seymour College also for 4th and 5th. But lane 5 will take the B final. Shelford Girls Grammar School first in their tandem rig Bow Cox 4 as they cross the line. Second, very close. It'll be lane 6, I think, just Pinball Ladies ahead of Ballarat Clarendon. Then lane 7, the Melbourne Girls College crew from lane 3, Seymour College. Lane 8, the second crew from Ballarat Clarendon. And then the two crews on the far side, Friends in 7th and Lauriston Girls in 8th.
So unofficial results for the Schoolgirl Cox 4B final. First, Shelford Girls Grammar. Second, Pinball Ladies College. Third, Ballarat Clarendon. Fourth, Melbourne Girls College. Fifth, Seymour College. In 6th, Ballarat Clarendon. And 7th, the Friends School. Lauriston Girls placed 8th. The unofficial time, 7:52.68 and margins 3.94, 0.41 and 5.60. The B final of the Schoolboy 4 is race 455, and in lane number 3 we have Somerset College from the Gold Coast in Queensland. In lane 4, Scotch Oakburn from Launceston in Tasmania. In lane 5, Ballarat Grammar from Victoria in as I mentioned, station number 5. And in lane 6, St Joseph's College from Hunters Hill in New South Wales on this side of the course. And they're heading up towards 1,400 metres covered.
Four-state battle with these four crews in the Schoolboys Cox 4B final. An early preview of the Interstate Regatta, of course, coming up this afternoon. That regatta, well, that part of the regatta kicks off at 1 p.m. and through to the Queen's Cup at 2:55 Australian Daylight Time. The King's Cup, of course, the last race of the regatta at 3:10 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. The B final of the Schoolboys Cox 4 continuing it was led at the 1,000-metre mark by Ballarat Grammar in lane 5 from Scotch Oakburn in lane 4. And it continues to be that way now as they approach and in fact go through the 1,500-metre timing point. Still Ballarat Grammar by just under a length, about 3/4 of a length to Scotch Oakburn of Launceston in Tasmania. Alongside them there in second place. Then St Joseph's from New South Wales, lane 6 would be third. And over the far side, Somerset College from the Gold Coast in Queensland. They'd be sitting in fourth position, a couple of lengths further back, that Somerset College crew. So this is the B final again. Positions 9, 10, 11 and 12 on offer here in the Schoolboys Cox 4, with the top 8 to be decided in the A final in a couple of hours' time. And these two crews in the middle lane still just overlapping a little is the crew from Scotch Oakburn on our race leaders, Ballarat Grammar. Zach Oliver, David Cuff, Henry Armstrong, Tim McConchy and Amelia Burke, coached by Sam Hutchinson, that Ballarat Grammar crew. And you can see there it's just under a length still, their margin over Scotch Oakburn second. Bradley Lawrence, George Taylor, William Birchmore, Thomas Dowling, Roland Lockwood the Cox, McLean Cameron the coach of the Scotch Oakburn crew, who are really coming home quickly in the closing strokes. They've got the rating right up and Ballarat Grammar have responded in kind. St Joseph's doing the same thing down the grandstand side of the course. They're certainly safe in third place, well clear of Somerset College. But Scotch Oakburn have been trying to reel in Ballarat Grammar for quite some time. They still sit the best part of a boat length behind them. Ballarat Grammar just too good here in the closing strokes, holding on by still that margin of the best part of the boat length. A couple of strokes to go, and it will be lane 5, the Ballarat Grammar crew, just stretching out to clear water as they approach the line. Ballarat Grammar first, Scotch Oakburn second. It'll be St Joseph's third and Somerset College fourth in the B final of the Schoolboys Cox 4.
Unofficial results of the Schoolboy Cox 4B final. First, Ballarat Grammar. Second, Scotch Oakburn. Third, St Joseph's College, Hunters Hill. Fourth, Somerset College. The unofficial time has been revised to 6:57.46 and margins 3.07, 1.96 and 10.74. Under 17, Schoolgirl 8, the B final is on the course. This relatively new event to the program and has provided some exciting racing in previous years. The B final here has Sydney Girls High in lane number 3. In lane number 4 is St Michael's Collegiate from Hobart in Tasmania. Lane 5, Pymble Ladies College. In lane 6, Somerville House. And in lane 7, Loretto Normanhurst from Sydney.
It was the St Michael's Collegiate School from Tasmania, leaders after 500 and big leaders after 1,000 metres now as well. They've gone through the halfway mark in 3:37.26 and they've got over 6 seconds back on the rest of the field. You can see clear water behind that collegiate crew. No one else in sight at this stage, but in second place it would be the Somerville House crew from Brisbane. Lane 6 there in second place, but they're over 6 seconds behind. They've got half a second, Somerville House on Pymble Ladies in lane 5, and Sydney Girls and also Loretto Normanhurst. So a Tasmanian crew in front, Queensland crew narrowly second, and 3 of the Sydney schools at this stage sitting 3rd, 4th and 5th. But pretty close for the minor placings, really, apart from St Michael's Collegiate, who have really jumped clear. The remaining 4 spots are very much yet to be decided, but you can see the green boat there of Somerville House, who would be second. The blue boat behind them of Pinball Ladies. That's lane 6 and 5, battling out for second and third. Further back on the far side, Sydney Girls would be in 4th place, and then Loretto Normanhurst closest to the camera in 5th position. But St Michael's Collegiate have gone out, well, they had 6 seconds. It's less than that now, so maybe they've gone out a bit too hard, the crew from St Michael's Collegiate. Somerville House brought that back to probably a length and a quarter or so at this stage, so it might yet be an interesting finish as the green boat from Brisbane starts to get moving. But still St Michael's Collegiate, our race leaders. Ilya Kelleher, Ruby Fiedler, Anais Jub, Poppy Newton, Ebony Taylor, Lily Fisher, Lucy McHenry, Ellie Killen-Bridley, coxed by Clementon Harris, coached by Sam Mollard and Fraser Simpson. They are our race leaders there on lane 4 as they've come through the 1500 metre mark. 5:30.98 their time over the first 3 quarters of the race. And as suggested, the lead has come back a bit, but probably not enough there for Somerville House. Still 4.79 seconds further back in second place. Another second or so to Pinball Ladies, then Sydney Girls and Loretto Normanhurst. So the Somerville House crew giving chase is Charlotte Crook, Alexandra Pappas, Hilary Barrett, Hannah Danielson, Destiny Hornery, Ella Reddy, Isabel Drew, Georgia Cameron, coxed by McKady Drummond, coached by Reese Jones and Samara Quinlan at the Somerville House School there. And also beside them, Pinball Ladies coming through as well. Pinball rating 37 in fact, so they are the highest rating crew in the race, and they have moved up along with Somerville House. That's the crew of Isabel Clift, Grace Livingston, Michaela Arthur, Ella Cass and Ava McLean, Evie Thompson, Holly Hall, Sophie Wickens and Isabel Hudson, coached by Aidan Smith and William Newnham. And both Pinball Ladies and Somerville side by side there, second and third, still a length or so behind our race leaders from the St Michael's Collegiate School in Tasmania, who are still in the best position to watch this battle for second place unfold and keep their boat in front at the same time. 4th and 5th is close as well. Sydney Girls, the far side, Loretto Normanhurst on the grandstand side. But they're outside the race for the top 3 at this stage. Have a look at Pinball Ladies really coming home here as they try and move past Somerville House in the race for second and third. But St Michael's Collegiate can still control the pace in front. They've got a link on these 2 schools who are really going for it in a brilliant race for second and third in this B final of the under-17 Schoolgirls 8. But St Michael's Collegiate will get the win. Somerville House trying to hang on for second place as Pinball Ladies continue to push, but St Michael's Collegiate will get the win, about a length and a half from Somerville. Still there in second place. They're clear by a canvas and they will get home for second. Great race there. Somerville second, Pinball Ladies third. 4th goes to lane 3, the crew from Sydney Girls, and 5th on this side will be Loretto Normanhurst.
Unofficial results of the under-17 Schoolgirl 8B final. First, St Michael's Collegiate School. Second, Somerville House. Third, Pinball Ladies College. 4th, Sydney Girls High School. And 5th, Loretto Normanhurst. The unofficial time, 7 minutes 20.16. And the margin, 6.29, 0.55 and 5.92. The final of the Schoolgirl Coxed Quad Scull is race 457, and the start list is PLC Sydney in lane number 1, Corowa Anglican Girls in lane 2, MLC from Kew in Melbourne in lane number 3, Strathcona in 4, Strathcona also in lane number 5, Radford College from Bruce in the Australian Capital Territory in Canberra in lane number 6, and Loretto Marriotteville from Adelaide in South Australia in lane 7, and Redlands from Sydney in lane number 8, and they're just past the 1,000 metre mark and heading up towards the 1,250.
And it is Loretto Marriotteville from Adelaide, the clear leaders in the B final of the Schoolgirls Cox Quad Scull. The crew there in lane 7, so close to the camera, and they had a lead of 2.42 seconds at the halfway mark, and I'd venture to suggest it's slightly more than that now, as they have a Good battle with Radford College of the ACT there in second position. Loretto Marriotteville only third after 500 metres, so moved up to take the lead just before halfway, and they're extending it now along with Radford College and Strathcona. Lane 5, the bow there of that bow. You can see sneaking up into second place now ahead of Radford College. So 2 crews from Strathcona. One of 3 Melbourne schools in this race, with 2 crews from Strathcona, 1 from MLC and 1 from Corowa Anglican Girls Schools. Also 2 New South Wales schools, PLC Sydney and Redlands in the outside lanes, but it's the South Australians, Loretto Marriotteville, who lead the race. And the sole ACT crew, Radford College, been second for most of the journey, but now probably just back in third behind Strathcona in lane 5. So Loretto Marriotteville, our race leaders there on screen. Laura Cook in the bow seat, Noni McCallum, Lucy Smith, Georgina Berry, Maddie Paisley is the cox steering the boat, and Tom Dornbos, the coach of the Loretto Marriotteville combination. Beside them, it is very close, still lane 6 and 5. The angle's slightly deceptive there. It is lane 5 that would hold down second spot. The first of 2 Strathcona crews. Alicia Caruso, Isabella Tom, Grace Senior, Bronte Coxhill, Jackie Evans the cox, Jackson Harrison the coach. As they come through 1,500 metres now, Loretto Marriotteville are comfortable leaders. 4.36 seconds they have over Strathcona second. It is Strathcona lane 5, then Radford College lane 6 in third place. Redlands in 8, holding down fourth. Corowa, then MLCQ, then Strathcona's second crew in lane 4, and PLC Sydney over the far side. So Radford College still fighting on strongly there in race for second and third. That's the crew of Alison Barclay, Thea Buckman, Maddie Dine, Natasha Erb and Samantha Blake, coached by Charlotte Cross, Liz Kell and Vicky Spencer, but they would be now a half length or so behind Strathcona. Lane 5 in second place, and Strathcona lane 4 look to be coming through pretty strongly of those crews on the outside half of the course. They might have moved up into at least 5th spot, and Redlands on this side still in contention there too for a top 4 or 5 finish. This is the B final of the Schoolgirls Cox Quad Scull, so the crew that wins this race will be 9th overall in this event, and it looks almost certain to be Loretto Marriotteville, the crew from Adelaide, leading Strathcona from Melbourne. In second place, Radford College of the ACT, Redlands of Sydney, lane 8, and Strathcona lane 4. Also the lane 2 crew, Corowa Anglican Girls School, having a quick finish there on the far side. They are looking to hold on to possibly 5th spot or move up 1 place in the closing stroke, but it's Loretto Marriotteville, our race leaders here. Strathcona 5. Lane 5 in second place, Strathcona lane 4, a chance of snatching 3rd spot here from Radford and Redlands, and Corowa moving up quickly as well, so it's going to be close for 3rd, but Loretto Marriotteville will surely get the race win. A few strokes to go from Strathcona lane 5, who still looks safe in second place, but it's Loretto Marriotteville across the line now. They get the win in the B final of the Schoolgirls squad, and Strathcona second and 3rd in the end. Lane 5 from lane 4, then very close again, Redlands just beating home Radford, and also Corowa, and very close for 7th and 8th as well. MLCQ just from PLC Sydney in the closing strokes.
And unofficial results of the B final of the Schoolgirl Cox Quadruple Sculls. And it is Loretto Marriotteville in first place. Second, Strathcona. That's the crew with Bronte Coxhill in the stroke seat. Third, Strathcona with the other crew with Kayla Smith in the stroke seat. In fourth, Redlands. Fifth, Radford College. Sixth, Corowa Anglican Girls. Seventh, MLCQ, and eighth, PLC Sydney. Unofficial time 7:46.48, and margins just 3.18, 1.18 and 1.48. B final of the Schoolboy coxed quad scull on the course, and in lane number 1 is Wesley, lane 2 Cathedral Townsville, lane 3 Cranbrook, lane 4 Melbourne High, lane 5 Cranbrook, lane 6 the Southport School, lane 7 Hunter Valley Grammar, And station number 8 on the grandstand side of the course, Cardinia International College. And they've covered around about 1,350 metres.
2 crews in this race from the Cranbrook School in Sydney, and they are our top 2, both through the 500 and through the 1,000 metre mark. Cranbrook Lane 5 from Cranbrook Lane 3, and we'll get confirmation soon as they come through 1,500 that the Lane 5 combination continues to lead for the Cranbrook School. That's Jake Vanderbilt, Nicholas Stavronos, Mitchell Kaponis, Jack Henderson and Thomas Beckhurst, and they do go through still in first place, 5:05.77 their time, but change in the minor placings. Cranbrook Lane 3 have dropped back a couple, and Melbourne High have moved up on Lane 4, Carmelai, Tony Lee, Joe Christie, Chanyong Pak and Amandeep Singh, the Cox, coached by Daniel Brighthope, Carl Tomchak and Paul McGann, the crew from Melbourne High. But Cranbrook over in Lane 3 still look to be close to second place. Hunter Valley Grammar Lane 7, the other crew to watch over this side of the course. Arthur Bowman, Ben Vickery, Isaac Shepherd, Tim Jeffries and Hannah Scarborough, the Cox, coached by Sam Jutney, Tom Herborn and Rowan Hislop. And then that second Cranbrook crew, Maximilian Brown, Stephen O'Neill, Conrad Cluck, Jack McCaffrey and Joshua Abelev, the Cox of that crew, who are still there with Melbourne High, battling out for what may in fact be 3rd and 4th now, because Hunter Valley Grammar in Lane 7 have certainly come through quite strongly. They were 4th at halfway, then 3rd at 1,500. They look to be up just into 2nd place now, ahead of Melbourne High and Cranbrook. Also the Southport School, they're in the yellow cap, sit about 5th at this stage. Then to the far side, Cathedral in Lane 2. Cardinia on this side and Wesley College Perth over the far side of the course. But Cranbrook have led all the way here, and they're comfortably clearing this B final of the Schoolboys Cox Quad Scull. They've got a couple of links on the field, and the interest really in the minor placings, but Hunter Valley Grammar doing the best of those. I think narrowly second from Melbourne High and Cranbrook again. But Cranbrook Lane 5 get the win. They take the B final, the Schoolboys Cox Quad Scull. Hunter Valley Grammar School will indeed get second by almost half a length from Melbourne High 3rd. Cranbrook Lane 3 will finish 4th. The Southport School 5th. 6 goes to Cathedral. And a couple of crews still to come home. 7th will be Lane 8, the crew from the Cardinia International College in Geelong. And 8th on the far side of the course will be the Wesley School from Perth in Western Australia.
And unofficial results of the B final of the Schoolboy Coxed Quad Sculls. First place, Cranbrook with Mitchell Kaponis in the stroke seat. In 2nd spot, Hunter Valley Grammar School. Placing 3rd, Melbourne High. 4th, Cranbrook with Jack McCaffrey in the stroke seat. 5th, the Southport School. 6th, Cathedral Townsville. Cardinia International College was 7th, and Wesley placing 8th. Unofficial time 6:48.73. And margin 7.46, 1.65 and 1.79. And it's the last of the B finals. It is the Schoolgirl 8 B final, and we have Scotch Oakburn in lane number 1 from St Catherine's in Melbourne. In lane number 2, Loretto Normanhurst in lane 3, Melbourne Girls Grammar School in lane 4, MLCQ in lane number 5, Pymble Ladies College in lane 6, St Michael's Collegiate School in lane 7 and MLC School in lane number 8.
It looks like just 7 crews in this race. MLC School from Sydney Lane 8, it appears, have not started in this race. So a field of 7 in the B final of the Schoolgirls Coxed 8. And it is Melbourne Girls Grammar School who are our race leaders, lane 4. That crew right in front of the camera there is again the St Michael's Collegiate School from Tasmania, and they are in lane 7 and they are just still second, but once again the angle of the boys slightly deceptive there on screen. But Melbourne Girls Grammar School, our race leaders, you can see there they've got in fact over half a length over the collegiate crew in lane 7. So Melbourne Girls Grammar School, lane 4, Charlotte Douglas, Isabella Barclay, Henrietta Roxburgh, Alex Nairn, Ella Bennett, Millicent Perkins, Jessica Goff, Cleo Fawkes and Sophie Black. The race leaders from St Michael's Collegiate of Tasmania in second position. The Melbourne Girls Grammar School first through the 1500 metre mark. Almost a length, 2.86 seconds. Collegiate second. Loretto Normanhurst from Sydney third. St Catherine's of Melbourne in fourth place, along with MLCQ and Pinball Ladies. Those crews in fourth, fifth and sixth are certainly all second eights from these schools. They've got their first eights racing in the A final later on today. That's Melbourne Girls Grammar School, still our race leaders from St Michael's Collegiate. Crew of Iris Dobson, Brooke Phillips, Georgia Sayers, Kate Hughes, Penelope Bowman, Jessica Stevens, Eva Davis, Caitlin Hogan-Jones, coxed by Alexandria Blandon, coached by Neil Stump and Courtney Blythe, the crew there in second place, closest to the grandstand, with lane 8 being empty in this race. So Melbourne Girls Grammar School, our leaders in lane 4, Collegiate second place in lane 7. Pretty tight still for third place. Loretto Normanhurst and St Catherine's Melbourne over in lanes 3 and 2, and also MLC from Kew and Pinball Ladies of Sydney lanes 5 and 6. Those 4 crews will fight out positions 3 down to 6, you would think, and then lane 1 over on the far side, well back, is Scotch Oakburn from Launceston in northern Tasmania. So Melbourne Girls Grammar School, our race leaders, lane 4. St Michael's Collegiate not giving up the chase here inside the final 100 metres. They are coming home quickly, but they've got to make up still the best part of the boat length. The Melbourne Girls Grammar School look pretty comfortable there in front in lane 4. Collegiate second, third possibly Loretto Normanhurst, and also Pinball Ladies on this side. But it is lane 4, Melbourne Girls Grammar School, in the B final of the Schoolgirls Coxed. They'll win it by just over a length from Collegiate second, and Loretto Normanhurst moving up into a clear third in the final strokes. Very close for fourth and fifth. Lane 2 will just get there. St Catherine's ahead of Pinball Ladies, then MLCQ, and then it will be the crew from Scotch Oakburn.
And results unofficial for the Schoolgirl 8 in B final. First, Melbourne Girls Grammar School. Second, St Michael's Collegiate School. Third, Loretto Normanhurst. Fourth, St Catherine's Melbourne. Fifth, Pinball Ladies College. Sixth, MLCQ. And just crossing the line, Scotch Oakburn to claim 7th place. Unofficial time, 7 minutes 00.95 seconds. And margins 3.90 and 1.58. In the Schoolboy coxed 8, the entries were reduced from 10 down to 8, so it's a straight final, and as a result the B final has been cancelled. And the next race will be at 9:30 with the Club Women's Double Scull, so it'll be the first of the A finals here today at 9:30. The first of the finals for today is race 461. It's the Club Women's Double Scull. Swan River are the defending title holders and do not have a crew in the final, so it'll be a new winner for 2018. In lane 1, Brisbane and GPS, Kiera Stafford and Gracie Wasson, coached by Alan Borger. Tawonga in lane number 2, Sarah Byrne and Kenzie Wareham, coached by Leonidas Karademetris and Kieran Dwyer. Lane 3, Banks, Alex Conway and Thea Adamson, coached by Cade Greenland and Nicholas Mitchell. Lane 4, Sydney University, Emma Jalalati and Clara Chambers has subbed in for Olivia Dent. They're coached by Jack Hanley. Pine Rivers are in lane number 5, Catherine Lambros and M. Schmieder, coached by Ray Smith. Fremantle are in lane number 6, Annabelle Council and Tanami Ashby Deering, coached by Tom Gaddy. Lane 7, Essendon, Kate Hutchison and Sarah Sekfi, coached by Donald McNeil. And in lane 8, UTS, Hallie Chapman and Adelaide Guinness, coached by David Geely, Alex Field and Tim McLaren.
So they are through the first minute now in the final of the Club Women's Double Scull, the first of our A finals on the program for the final day of the 2018 Aon Sydney International Rowing Regatta. In fact, from here on in, every race is an A final through to the King's Cup at 3:10 this afternoon. And the Pine Rivers Double Scull here is out well in the early strokes. The lane 5 combination, Catherine Lambros and M. Schmieder, coached by Ray Smith, of course, at the Pine Rivers Rowing Club up on Lake Kawongba, just in the northern suburbs of Brisbane. And they've gone out to a pretty commanding lead, it would seem, in the closing strokes. They're almost through the first 500 metres. And Pine Rivers, they're in the centre lane, lane 5. They won their heat a couple of days ago, so went straight through to the final, as did the lane 4 combination from Sydney University in the other of the centre lanes. But it's Pine Rivers first and Banks in second. Alex Conway and Thea Adamson for Banks, coached by Cade Greenland and Nick Mitchell. And they sit 2.6 seconds behind our leading crew from Pine Rivers. And then lane 7 is next. That's the Essendon Rowing Club combination, Kate Hutchinson and Sarah Sekfi, coached by Donald McNeil. They rode a repechage yesterday, had a very commanding win, about 13.5 seconds. They won their repechage by the Essendon combination, so also one of the crews to watch in this race, you would think. And then Toowong over in lane 2, Sarah Byrne and Kenzie Wareham, coached by Leonidas Karademetris and Kiwi Dwyer, the combination on lane 2. But it's Pine Rivers, our race leaders, as they head up towards the halfway mark now in this Club Women's Double Scull A final. It's the club event's designed for those athletes who are not currently in the mix to represent Australia and have not represented Australia in the past year as well. They also must be straight club crews, no composite combinations allowed, which certainly from a commentary perspective, I can assure you, makes things a lot easier with just the one club name on the program for each entry. And Pine Rivers it is, pulling away now in this second 500 metres. They're approaching the half distance mark, and the lead is well out to beyond a length. It was 2.61 seconds after 500 metres. And Catherine Lambros and M. Schmieder are certainly going away well in the middle stage of this race now. They're about to go through the 1,000 metre mark, and they do that right now, in fact. 3:43.29 their time, and almost 4 seconds, 3.95 over. It is Essendon now in the battle of those two Victorian double sculls. Essendon lane 7, Hutchinson and Sekfi from Banks lane 3, Conway and Adamson, just 0.36 of a second from second to third. So potentially a very good race between those two Victorian doubles for the silver medal here. But at this stage, there's still a long way to go, but Pine Rivers are looking very good out in front. Lambros and Schmieder, who have got a lead of what's got to be close to 2 boat lengths there. You can see the Pine Rivers double scull clearly there on screen. Catherine Lambros in the bow seat. M. Schmieder the stroke. Ray Smith the coach. Very long serving member of the Pine Rivers Rowing Club and Queensland Rowing in general. And his crew doing a very good job here, out by a couple of boat lengths from Banks. You can see the bow of there just in shot. Alex Conway and Thea Adamson, who are in a very good battle with Essendon lane 7, Kate Hutchinson and Sarah Sekfi for second and third. Further back behind them, we had Sydney University in lane 4. They were the other heat winners from a couple of days ago, but back in 4th place. A couple of lengths outside the medals at this stage, just ahead of Fremantle lane 6. The University of Technology, Sydney in lane 8, Toowong in 2, and Brisbane and GPS in 1. But Pine Rivers it is. They've stretched that out to what's getting close to 3 lengths now as they come up towards the 1,500 metre mark and just continue to extend. Catherine Lambros and M. Schmieder of the Pine Rivers Rowing Club. They had just under 4 seconds at the 1,000 metre mark. We'll see what the lead is now as they go through 1,500. Pine Rivers first, 5:38.61 their time. It's almost 6 seconds now, 5.88 over Essendon in second place and Banks in third. So Essendon have held on to second spot and just slightly extended their margin as well. Essendon lane 7, Banks lane 3. Fremantle lane 6 are up into 4th spot. That's Annabelle Council and Tanami Ashby-Deering. They're coached by Tom Gatty. And behind them then the University, Sydney University I should say, in 5th place. Emma Jalalati and Clara Chambers, coached by Jack Hanley. Head of University of Technology, the grandstand side of the course in 6th place. Chapman and Guinness, the crew there. Byrne and Wareham for Toowong, and Stafford and Wasson, Brisbane GPS, the far side of the course, in 8th position. But it is Pine Rivers in front here. The Pine Rivers combination, Catherine Lambros and M. Schmieder. Still a good race between those couple of Victorian double sculls. Banks in 3, Essendon in 7. Racing for the silver medal, it would seem, but well behind our very comfortable race leaders from the Pine Rivers Rowing Club, who jumped out to a lead in the early strokes and have just extended that right down the course. They've gone further away with every 500 metres, and they're only now 100 metres away from a gold medal in the club women's double scull. Essendon and Banks still there in a race for second and third. Fremantle and Sydney Uni racing for 4th and 5th, possibly with UTS there as well. But the only interest remains in the minor placings because the Pine Rivers Rowing Club, Catherine Lambros and M. Schmieder, are going to lead all the way in the club women's double scull. They've got 3 or 4 strokes to go as they maintain their form right down to the line, and the next stroke they'll be across. Pine Rivers take out the club women's double scull. Catherine Lambros and M. Schmieder first. Second place, lane 3. The crew from Banks, Conway and Adamson. Then Essendon third. Hutchison and Sekfi get the bronze medal. Very close for 4th and 5th. Lane 4 will just get there, I think. Sydney Uni from Fremantle. From the University of Technology, Sydney. 7th place goes to lane 2. The crew from Toowong, and 8th on the far side, Brisbane and GPS.
And unofficial results for the club women's double scull. A win to Pine Rivers, Catherine Lambros and M. Schmieder. Second to Banks, Alex Conway, Thea Adamson. And third to Essendon, Kate Hutchison and Sarah Sekfi. 4th, Sydney University. 5th, Fremantle. 6th, University of Technology, Sydney. 7th, Toowong, and 8th, Brisbane and GPS. The unofficial time, 7:36.64. And margins 3.53, 3.23 and 6.98. And start list for the club women's coxless 4. And the field that we have in lane number 2, ANU. In lane number 3, the defending title holders, Sydney Rowing Club. Lane 4, Banks. That's the Banks crew with Meg Maitland in the stroke seat. Lane 5, the Banks crew with Stella Fulton in the stroke seat. ANU have a second crew in there, and it's a very, very experienced crew. Elaine Bissiker, Adair Ferguson, of course, having won the World Championships when it first moved to 2,000 metres. She's there with Kerry Nola, former Australian representative, and Deanne Grant. And in lane number 7, West Australian Rowing Club on this side of the course.
Wests, attention. Lane 5, lane 5.
So we are racing in the Club Women's Coxless 4, the second of our A finals on today's program. And the 6 crews are on their way. The Sydney Rowing Club, the title holders here, they do have a crew in lane 3 looking to defend that title, but out to a blistering start, lane 7 is the West Australian Rowing Club combination. Georgia Seed, Paris Caporn, Elizabeth Daubney, Olivia Jones, coached by Joe Tamigi and Katrina Walker. They've gone out to almost a length already in the first. Well, they've just gone past the 250 metre mark, so a really powerful start from the West Australian Rowing Club behind their stroke. Olivia Jones, that's Georgia Seed in the bow seat, Paris Caporn in front of her, Elizabeth Daubney in 3, and Olivia Jones the stroke. And it remains to be seen if they can maintain this pace now. They're certainly going to lead through the first 500 metres, but we'll see how much they've spent in the opening stages as the race progresses. Right over on the far side, it would be the Australian National University, a clear second, just ahead of Sydney Rowing Club, the defending champions, just moving up probably now into third, and then the crew from Banks, one of 2 crews from Banks in this race in the centre lane, zones 4 and 5. This is the Banks crew stroked by Stella Fulton, who are up into third place. 2 crews also from the Australian National University, lanes 2 and 6. And as you heard from Owen before, the lane 6 crew, particularly well credentialed, former world champion Adair Ferguson and Australian Olympian Kerry Nola in that boat, but they are back in 5th or 6th at this stage. So it is the West Australian Rowing Club. Unsurprisingly, our race leaders after their quick start, 1:45.26 their time after 500 metres, 1.61 seconds over the Australian National University lane 2, who are second by just under a second from the Sydney Rowing Club lane 3. Then the 2 crews from Banks lane 5 would be 4th, ANU lane 6 in 5th place, and Banks lane 4 are back in 6th place at this stage of the race. But it's the West Australian Rowing Club out to a convincing start over the first 700 or 800 metres now of this Club Women's Coxless 4 race. The crew on the left of screen there, closest to the grandstand side as we approach the finish line. And right across them to the far side, just out of shot at the moment, would be the Australian National University crew over in lane 2, probably second. Sydney beside them in third, and still that Banks lane 5 combination. He's not too far off the pace either. And the other 2 crews have dropped back a little, ANU in 6 and Banks in 4. Well, the West Australian Rowing Club there still holding on by around about 2/3 of a length. You can see Sydney now moving up past the Australian National University. Sydney crew is Crystal Piper, Brianna Caputo, Madison Brown, Isabel Furrer, coached by Lachlan Carter, Jason Baker and Donovan Seck. And they certainly have now a narrow advantage from the Australian National University over in lane 2. Rachel Keelow, Emily Caudle, Sarah Edwards, Philippa Smith and Mike Brady, the coach of that ANU crew. So the West Australian Rowing Club by 1.76 seconds now over Sydney Rowing Club, who look to have just got their boat moving a bit quicker over the second 500. They've moved through to a comfortable second place now, with ANU the far side dropping back a little, 1.1 seconds at 1,000. But Sydney have moved a bit more clear of that now in the race for second place, and looking to challenge our all-the-way leaders so far from the West Australian Rowing Club. So the West Australians lead, Sydney lane 3 second, ANU the far side still third, and the remainder of the field still unchanged. Banks lane 5, in 4th place. Chloe Patterson, Isabel McPherson, Meg Herman, Meg Maitland, coached by Lockie Miller, Samuel Fennessy and Nick Mitchell. Then ANU lane 6, Elaine Bissiker, Adair Ferguson, Kerry Nola, Dion Grant and Nigel Harding the coach. And Banks lane 4 in 3rd place is that's the crew stroked by Meg Maitland. The crew in 4th place is Jessica Evans, Anna Chalkley, Ainsley Raggett, Stella Fulton from the Banks Club. So Banks lane 5, the better placed of the 2 crews. The Stella Fulton stroke crew, the Meg Maitland stroke crew is back in 6th place at this stage. But the West Australian Rowing Club are holding on here, and they've gone again to extend their lead almost out to a full length. The Sydney Rowing Club still just overlapping, still giving themselves a chance over the final 600 metres here. But the West Australians really, who took that lead pretty much in the first 15 or 20 strokes of the race, they are steering a little bit off towards the side of their lane to the West Australian Club. As we look out the window here down the course, they're certainly not in the centre of their lane, so they'll need to straighten up and certainly make sure they avoid contact with the boys on their bow side, getting dangerously close to making contact there. But as they come through 1500, it is the West Australian Rowing Club who still lead. It was 2.38 seconds, but that little bit of steering difficulty has cost them a bit of ground on the course. The Sydney Rowing Club right over across in lane 3 have made up some of that distance, but it's still just under a boat length of lead. The West Australian Rowing Club, Georgia Seed, Paris Capone, Elizabeth Daubney, Olivia Jones, the club women's coxless 4A final. They continue to lead, which they've done really right from the first stroke of the race. Sydney over there in lane 3, Crystal Piper, Brianna Caputo, Madison Brown, Isabel Ferrer, the only crew likely to challenge, you would think, over the closing strokes. And then in 3rd, it would be the Australian National University over in lane 2 from Banks lane 5, and ANU in 6 and Banks lane 4 as well. So the West Australian Rowing Club again steering off the centre of their lane and again needing to straighten up and get off the boys on their bow side. They need to hold that steering together to ensure a safe passage through to the finish line. They are still clear in terms of race position, but they are almost on the line of boys now on their bow side. And the West Australian Rowing Club in front, but having to work very hard here now over the closing strokes. Sydney on the far side certainly have steered a better course, but the West Australians recover now. They get back in the centre of their lane. They set sail for the finish line. They should still take the win with only a couple of strokes to go, but Sydney are closing. Western Australian Rowing Club leads it by a canvas or so. Now Sydney getting very close in the final strokes, but the West Australian Rowing Club will hang on and get up by maybe a 1/3 of a length. Sydney 2nd. 3rd, the far side, the Australian National University. 4th place, then lane 5, the first of 2 crews from the Banks Rowing Club in Melbourne. 5th place goes to lane 6, the 2nd crew from the Australian National University, and then Banks lane 4, who will complete the field in 6th place.
Unofficial results for the Club Women's Coxless 4. 1st, West Australian Rowing Club. 2nd, Sydney Rowing Club. 3rd, the Australian National University Boat Club. 4th with Banks. That's the crew with Stella Fulton in the stroke seat. 5th, the ANU. And 6th, the other Banks crew, stroked by Meg Maitland. Unofficial time, 7:24.16. And margins 0.88 and 7.53. Presentation of medals for the Club Women's Double Scull Championship of Australia, and the medals will be presented by Ray Ebbett, 2008, 2012 and 2016 Olympic team manager and life member of Pine Rivers Rowing Club. Third place and bronze medalist, Essendon Rowing Club. Kate Hutchison. Sarah Sekfi. Coached by Donald McNeil. Second place and silver medalist, Banks Rowing Club. Alex Conway. Thea Adamson. And coaches Cade Greenland and Nicholas Mitchell. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, Pine Rivers Rowing Club. Catherine Lambros. And M. Schmieder. And coached by Ray Smith. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. Club men's double scull is race 463 in this final. Consists with University of Western Australia in lane 1, Caleb Jaschke and George White, coached by Stefano Belosso. Lane number 2, St George, Oliver Gorman and James Hunt, coached by Mark Featherston. Lane 3, Nepean, Jason Waddell and Angus Harold, coached by Daniel Waddell. In lane 4, Melbourne University, Tim Winkler and Isaac Smith. And they're coached by Franz Imfeld. Lane 5, Melbourne University, Andrew Goldstein and Nicholas Stevenson, coached by Franz Imfeld. In lane 6, Banks, James Meads and Angus Thornton, coached by Sam Lefebvre and Nicholas Mitchell. Fremantle are in lane 7, Digby Marshall and Peter Holiday, coached by Tom Gaddy. And Jake Brighton and Patrick Graham are the Sydney Rowing Club crew in lane 8, coached by Donovan Seck, Jason Baker and Lachlan Carter. And they have moved through the first 500 metres.
And through the first 500, it was one of the two crews from Melbourne University. It was the lane 5 combination, Andrew Goldstein and Nicholas Stevenson, coached by Franz Imfeld, who led the race, but ever so narrowly. There would be roughly 2 seconds from first to 7th in this race. In fact, have a look at those splits up on the screen between Melbourne Uni first and Nepean in 7th place, all very tight on the course. So Melbourne Uni, lane 5, Banks lane 6, James Meads and Angus Thornton. 3rd place, narrowly, St George, Oliver Gorman and James Hunt. Fremantle lane 7, Digby Marshall, Peter Holiday. The 2nd Melbourne Uni crew in the centre of the course, lane 4, Tim Winkler and Isaac Smith. And also Sydney's combination of Jack Brighton and Patrick Graham. So there's top 6 at least, very close together. You can see them all together on screen there. Melbourne Uni look to me to now have 1st and 2nd place in their keeping. Lane 5, Andrew Goldstein, Nicholas Stevenson. And lane 4 alongside them will be 2nd now, Tim Winkler and Isaac Smith. And that's the case as they go through the 1,000-metre mark. In fact, Goldstein and Stevenson first in 3:26.66, just over a second. 1.09 back to Winkler and Smith of Melbourne Uni. And Banks still there in 3rd place, James Meads and Angus Thornton, 1.61 seconds further back, getting out to almost a length now, that margin from 2nd to 3rd. And then Sydney, it would be in 4th place, Jack Brighton and Patrick Graham, who are on the grandstand side of the course, closest to the camera. And Fremantle beside them, lane 7, back in 5th place. And St George, Nepean and University of Western Australia, the 3 doubles on the far side, back in 6th, 7th and 8th. But still some small margins in this race. The 2 Melbourne Uni crews, however, are pulling clear of the rest of the field now at this stage. It's a Clearwater gap from 2nd to 3rd. And it's becoming an intra-club battle in this club men's double scull. The two crews from Melbourne University, Andrew Goldstein and Nicholas Stevenson. And beside them, in lane 4, just coming into view now, Tim Winkler and Isaac Smith, the second place crew. And then a gap back to third place. It would be that lane 6 combination from Banks, who is still leading Sydney in 4th. That's 3rd and 4th in the picture there. And Fremantle between those two, back in 5th place, all on this side of the course, the action for the bronze medal, it would seem. But Melbourne University 1st and 2nd, about to come through the 1,500 metre mark. And Andrew Goldstein and Nicholas Stevenson have led this race right from the start, still holding on by just over a length. The second Melbourne Uni crew are only about 5th after 500 metres, but it was extremely close, and they've maintained contact with their club mates and still do now through the 1,500 metre mark. So Melbourne Uni first, 5:12.64. That's Goldstein and Stevenson in 5, ahead of Winkler and Smith in 4. 1.72 seconds the margin, and then 3.5 back to Banks, Meads and Thornton in 3rd. Still Sydney 4th, Brighton and Graham. Fremantle have dropped back a couple of places in lane 7. Nepean now up into 5th place. Jason Waddell and Angus Harold ahead of St George, Oliver Gorman and James Hunt. Then Fremantle, Digby Marshall and Peter Holiday, and University of Western Australia, Caleb Jaschke and George White. But it's these two Melbourne University double sculls. One of them surely will take the gold medal here. The race won by Mercantile last year, so it will remain in Melbourne, the title of the club men's double sculls, but it will move a couple of boat sheds along to Melbourne University, it seems. Angus Goldstein and Nicholas Stevenson still there in front. Tim Winkler and Isaac Smith not giving up here. They still haven't been able to make too much impact, but they're hanging on. And now Winkler and Smith looking to make an impression on the closing strokes on Goldstein and Stevenson. These two double sculls from Melbourne University, but it's still the lane 5 combination that leads. Lane 4, they're getting quite close together there on the course as well, but hopefully can avoid getting out of their lanes. It's still the lane 5 combination. Goldstein and Stevenson holding on over Winkler and Smith as they straighten up and head for home. It's down to half a length or so. It'll be Melbourne Uni from Melbourne Uni, but Goldstein and Stevenson just a little bit too quick in the closing strokes. They win it by 1/3 of a length. Goldstein and Stevenson first, Winkler and Smith second. Melbourne Uni take the Quinella in the club men's double scull. 3rd place will go to lane 6, the Banks crew of Meads and Thornton. 4th will be Sydney, 5th then. So 4th will be St George, Nepean lane 3 in fact. Sydney on this side get 5th. 6th place goes to St George, then the University of Western Australia. And they're struggling home here, the Fremantle crew. The bow seat, Peter Holiday, Digby Marshall has had to stop rowing, it seems, and Peter Holiday bringing the double scull home on his own. So a few strokes to go for Fremantle to complete this race.
Unofficial results of the club men's double scull. First, Melbourne University, Andrew Goldstein and Nicholas Stevenson. Second, Melbourne University, Tim Winkler and Isaac Smith. 3rd, Banks, James Meads and Angus Thornton. 4th, Nepean. 5th, Sydney. 6th, St George. 7th, the University of Western Australia. And coming across the line to place 8th is Fremantle. Unofficial time 6:57.06 and margin 0.80 and 7.78. Presentation of medals for the Club Women's Coxless 4 Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Ray Ebbett, 2008, 2012 and 2016 Olympic team manager. Third place and bronze medalists, the Australian National University Boat Club. Rachel Kelo. Emily Caudle. Sarah Edwards. And Philippa Smith. Coach Mike Brady. Second place and silver medalist, Sydney Rowing Club. Crystal Piper. Brianna Caputo. Madison Brown. Isabel Furrer. And coaches Lachlan Carter, Jason Baker and Donovan Seck. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, West Australian Rowing Club, Georgia Seed. Paris Caporn. Elizabeth Daubney. Olivia Jones. And coaches Joseph Tamigi and Katrina Walker. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. And the Club Men's 4, race 464 is underway in the field that we have in this. Banks in lane number 2, Adelaide University in lane 3, Sydney Rowing Club in 4, the Australian National University in lane 5, Sydney Rowing Club with a second crew in lane number 6, and 2 crews from Melbourne University in lane 7 and lane number 8. In the Club Men's 4, Melbourne University with 2 crews on this side of the course. They ended up winning the Club Men's 8 last year, and a number of names from that winning Club Men's 8. It was a very controversial race last year in the Club Men's 8, but they're splitting up into 2 4s here and doing quite well. They're in the lead in lane number 7 and going stroke for stroke with Sydney Rowing Club. Sydney Rowing Club in lane number 4, Matthew Gerdenbach, represented South Africa as an under-23 in about 2006. Tom Gunton, a very, very talented rower with the Shaw School, part of their great 8 in 2009, along with Michael Benerius, who's also in that boat, and Edward White, King's Cup winner last year with New South Wales. Very talented Sydney Rowing Club crew there in the yellow boat, and they're doing battle with the 2 crews from Melbourne University Boat Club. In lane 7, Hamish Rowlands. In there with Gary Butcher, Sam Morathan and Jonathan Hookway. Jonathan Hookway having rowed for Australia in the junior men's pair and won gold back in the early 2000s. They're coached by David England, and right on this side of the course, Christopher Hargraves, Henry Jones, Paddy Adams and Noah Norman, coached by Franz Imfeld and Michael Scala. So it's those 3 crews that are fighting it out through the halfway mark, which is one of the Melbourne University crews was missed in the timing system, but as they come through 12.50, it's been a big push from the crew on this side. Chris Hargraves, Henry Jones, Paddy Adams and Noah Norman have skipped out to 3/4 of a length, and they're trying to detach themselves from the other 2 crews. And in this third 500 metres, the all-important third 500 metres, the Melbourne University Boat Club crew just starting to make a bit of a push here, and we'll see, firstly, how much that's going to take out of them, but also what the other crews will respond with. They've gone up to 37 strokes a minute in trying to push clear of the rest of the field in this club men's 4. On screen now, Melbourne University, Hamish Rowlands, Gary Butcher, Sam Morrison and Jonathan Hookway. And as we pan across to Sydney Rowing Club, who are in 3rd spot. So Melbourne University moving to the 4 here. They claimed gold and silver in the club men's double scull, and they're now holding those positions in the club men's coxless 4. You can ignore the graphic on the screen. It is Melbourne University that are leading, and leading by a boat length over their fellow club crew. And Sydney Rowing Club are in 3rd in the blue boat. And then back to a good race going on between Banks over on the far side of the course and the 2nd of the Sydney Rowing Club crew that contains a number of the members that were part of the seeded crew that rode in the Club 4s at Henley in the Wyfold Challenge Cup. Unfortunately, they were bundled out in the first round by the City of Bristol B crew, but they are here and trying to claim a top 5 placing in the club men's coxless 4. But it is Melbourne University Boat Club, Hargraves, Jones, Adams and Norman. The 3rd 500 metres with a decisive one where they push to the front and push clear and are still starting to enhance their advantage over the other Melbourne University crew of Rowlands, Butcher, Morrison and Hookway. And in 3rd, Sydney Rowing Club have gone into their sprint finish but have left themselves with far much to do to improve on their current bronze medal position. These 3 crews are a class above the rest in this club men's 4. So it will be gold to Melbourne University Boat Club. Hargraves, Jones, Adams and Norman take the win. 2nd to the crew of Rowlands, Butcher, Morrison and Hookway, also of Melbourne University Boat Club. And bronze will go to Sydney Rowing Club, who paddle across the line to claim 3rd. 4th will be Banks, followed by the 2nd of the Sydney Rowing Club crews in 5th. ANU will be 6th and Adelaide University further 5 lengths back in 7th position.
Unofficial results in race 464, the final of the club men's coxless 4. First place, Melbourne University, lane 8. 2nd, Melbourne University, lane 7. 3rd, Sydney Rowing Club. 4th, Banks. 5th, Sydney in lane 6. And 6th place, the Australian National University. 7th, Adelaide University. And the unofficial winning time, 6:20.29. And the winning margin, 5.02 seconds. The presentation of medals for the Club Men's Double Scull Championship of Australia. Medals will be presented by Ray Abbott, 2008, 2012 and 2016 Olympic team manager. Third place and bronze medalists representing the Banks Rowing Club, James Meads and Angus Thornton. In second place and silver medalists, Melbourne University, Tim Winkler and Isaac Smith. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, Melbourne University, Andrew Goldstein and Nicholas Stevenson, who was coached by Franz Imfeld. please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. And as you can see up on the screen, we have just had a start in the first of our School A finals, the final of the Schoolgirl single scull, race 465. Lane 1, Amy Bain of Hobart. Lane 2, Annalise Mackey from Newstead. Lane 3, Sophie Rice from St Hilda's. The defending champion, Lane 4, Nachala Martin-Chick of St Scholastica here in Sydney. Lane 5, Ruby Bray of Maribyrnong. Lane 6, Rebecca Bye from Launceston. Lane 7, Georgia Powell from All Hallows. And lane 8, Andrea Brichette from Trinity Catholic.
As we've gotten underway, it's been a very good start from sculler in lane number 4 from St Scholastica in Glebe, the defending champion Nicola Martinchich, coached by Milan Parker and Thomas Parker. Just there at the top of the screen, and going out with her is the other semi-final winner, Ruby Bray of Maribyrnong, in the Footscray colours in lane number 5, and a good start from Georgia Powell of All Hallows in lane number 7. She was sculled a very mature race in the semi-finals where she coasted home and conserved a fair bit of energy, so we'll see what she can deliver here. The under-17 national champion from earlier in the week in the single sculls, coached by Richard Powell. So they're the top 3, and they're just starting to move out to boat length over the rest of the field. In good race for 4th between Launceston's Rebecca Bye and Sophie Rice of St Hilda's, Queensland. And it's over to the 2 scullers on the far side of the course, Annalise Mackey of Newstead in Launceston and Amy Bain of Hobart, the 2 Tasmanians over on the far side of the course. But it's Nicola Martinchich that leads through the first 500 metres, and she's making a bit of a push out here to try and get out to a boat length on Georgia Powell of All Hallows and Ruby Bray of Maribyrnong. Defending champion with that easily recognisable style where she just lurches forward right at the end to get a long, long way forward. She's very comfortable grinding away at sort of 28, 30 and 32 strokes a minute. And now she's at 29 strokes a minute at the head of this field in the white Felipe shell. And also on screen the bow of Ruby Bray of Maribyrnong. A bit more of an upright sculler there in lane number 5. He's having a good tussle with Georgia Powell of All Hallows as these 3 just make their way up towards the bridge area. So they've just gone past the bridge, which is the 750 metre mark, and around about 800 metres covered in this Schoolgirl single scull A final. Martinchich of St Scholastica in Glebe. She's also there in the maroon and white blades, with the maroon and white blades of Glebe Rowing Club, where she rows under coach Milan Parker and his son Thomas Parker. Milan Parker has been a long time coach at Glebe Rowing Club. And the St Scholastica sculler continues to lead this field as we now look at Ruby Bray of Maribyrnong, coached by Lachlan Beckett and Tony Lawless. And it is Bray that still holding on to second spot over Georgia Powell of All Hallows. Ruby Bray at 29 strokes a minute. Georgia Powell looking very, very relaxed here on this side of the course, at 1 point lower at 28. There looks to be some very controlled sculling here, and they're the top 3, and they've gone through the 1,000 metre mark, and then it's a further 4.5 seconds back to Rebecca Bye of Launceston, and there's Sophie Rice He is still holding on to 5th spot in lane number 3. Then over to the far side, Newstead's Annalise Mackey in 6th, Hobart's Amy Bain 7th, and from Trinity Catholic in Lismore on this side of the course, Andrea Brichette in the yellow shell in 8th position. Nicola Martincic was bronze medalist in the under-19 women's single scull. As Richard mentioned, is the defending champion in the schoolgirl single scull. Whenever she starts to think she's going to get out to about a boat length's lead, Ruby Bray of Maribyrnong just moves back to holding an overlap with her. So very, very little separating these top 3 scullers here at the head of the field as they make their way up through the first 1,300 metres. We've seen a bit of another push coming from Martincic as he's trying to break the other 2 scullers on her bow side. Hasn't necessarily lifted the rating, it's more so much the power. She's still rating 28-29 and she's always very, very comfortable in that rating zone, and she can just really that long reach forward. And in 2nd spot, Ruby Bray of Maribyrnong, and All Hallows, Georgia Powell. Still sitting comfortably, or very comfortable and very relaxed there. She's just glancing around left and right every now and then, and still 3rd in this A final of the schoolgirl single scull. But as we move up towards the 1,500 metre mark, Nicola Martincic of St Scholastica Glebe is continuing to lead, and now just started to move away and move out to almost a 1.5 length advantage over Ruby Bray of Maribyrnong in 2nd spot. We'll see if Georgia Powell remains as relaxed here in this last 500 metres. She's in 3rd spot, a length down on the Maribyrnong sculler. Rebecca Bye still in 4th for Launceston. St Hilda's in lane number 3. Sophie Rice is in 5th position, and the 2 scullers from Tasmania over on the far side still having a great tussle, just 0.26 of a second separating them from in 6th and 7th. And Andrea Brichette of Trinity Catholic in Lismore in northern New South Wales is in 8th place and set to finish in that position in this A final of the schoolgirl single scull, as Nicola Martincic is looking to go back-to-back 2017 and 2018. She's now out to a couple of boat lengths advantage over Ruby Bray of Maribyrnong, who has conceded a bit of ground in the middle 1,000 to the powerful St Scholastica Glebe sculler Martincic. Georgia Powell on this side of the course has moved up to 31 strokes, so she's lifted at 3 points, the sculler from All Hallows. It's still in 3rd spot behind Maribyrnong's Ruby Bray. Rebecca Bye of Launceston in 4th spot. She's a further 2.5 lengths back off 3rd. And then it is another couple of lengths to St Hilda's Sophie Rice, who's coming under a bit of pressure from Mackey of Newstead and Bain of Hobart on the far side of the course in the fight for 5th position. But with just 40 metres to go, Nicola Martincic set to go back-to-back in the schoolgirl single scull for St Scholastica Glebe, coached by Milan Parker and Thomas Parker. And it's gold to St Scholastica, silver to Maribyrnong's Ruby Bray. Georgia Powell of All Hallows placing 3rd and winning the bronze medal. 4th will go to Rebecca Bye of Launceston. Over on the far side of the course, the 2 Tasmanians have belted each other all the way down the course, and it's Hobart's Amy Bain that gets up for 5th, ahead of Annalise Mackey of Newstead in 6th. 7th is Sophie Rice of St Hilda's, who was in 5th place for the bulk of the race. And then in 8th, Andrea Brichette of Trinity Catholic Lismore.
Unofficially in race 465, 1st place for the 2nd year in a row, Nicola Martincic. 2nd, Ruby Bray. 3rd, Georgia Powell. 4th, Rebecca Bye. 5th, Amy Bain. 6th, Annalise Mackey. 7th, Sophie Rice. 8th, Andrea Brichette. And the winning time, 8:15.43, and winning margin 3.58 seconds. The presentation of medals for the Club Men's Coxless 4. The medals will be presented by Emma Brown, Counsellor, Rowing Queensland. In second place, and silver medalists, Melbourne University. Hamish Rowlands. Gary Butcher. Sam Morrison. Jonathan Hookway. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, Melbourne University, Christopher Hargraves, Henry Jones, Paddy Adams, and Noah Norman. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. And they're underway in race 466, the A final of the Schoolboy single scull. Lane 1, St Augustine's Connor Hopkins. Lane 2, St Augustine's Torben Ungermach. Lane 3, Unley High, Mitchell Reinhard. Lane 4, St Joseph's, Mitch Blackmore Cram. Lane 5, St Ignatius, Zachary Noble. Lane 6, Trinity Lutheran, Lachlan Swan. Lane 7, Brisbane State High, Benjamin Birchall. And lane 8, St Peter's College, James Andrew Walther.
And it is a good race going on between the sculler from Unley High, Mitchell Reinhard, and we know he packs a very, very good finish. He's there in the light blue and dark blue vertical stripes in lane number 3. He's coached by Pierre Richards, and he has a very good finish, but he's in a position where we may not get a chance to see that because he's right at the head of the field there with Mitch Blackmore Cram of St Joseph's College in the SIRR colours. And then on this side of the course, Benjamin Birchall of Brisbane State High School in lane number 7. So they're the three that are shining out here as they make their way up towards 850 metres. Covered. Trinity Lutheran's Lachlan Swan was in 4th at the 500, followed by St Augustine's Connor Hopkins. Zachary Noble of St Ignatius is 6th. He was part of the winning St Ignatius College crew at the New South Wales GPS Head of the River and breaking a 43-year drought for St Ignatius College in winning the first 8. Torben Ungermark of St Augustine's is in 7th, and St Peter's James Andrew Author in 8th. But yeah, stamping his authority on this field, Mitchell Reinhard of Unley High School in Adelaide, the school of former Prime Minister Julia Gillard. And Mitchell Reinhard has been a very good competitor over the last few years. And they're on 32 strokes a minute, and he's 2 lengths to the good of Mitch Blackmore Cram of St Joseph's College, Hunters Hill. And the Brisbane State High Sculler Benjamin Birchall there in 3rd spot, just ahead of Connor Hopkins of St Augustine's over on the far side in the green colours. And then Zachary Noble having pushed through into 5th position, and then followed by Swan, Ungermack and Andrew Author at the tail of the field. This has been a very, very dominant performance here. Mitchell Reinhardt of Unley High School as he continues to pull away from the field, moving up through the 1,250 metre mark, and he's 3 lengths ahead of what is a great race developing for second spot, with Benjamin Birchall there with Mitch Blackmore-Cram, and then we've had Zachary Noble also start to push through in the blue and white colours of St Ignatius College. And over on the far side of the course, Connor Hopkins in lane number 1, who's just on the left of screen in the green colours of St Augustine's, a relatively new rowing school that had their program started off by Matthias and Judith Ungermark. Matthias, the world best time holder in the men's Cox 4 from 1991. Judith, Olympic gold medalist in the women's 8 from 1988 and Olympic bronze medalist from the women's 8 in 1992. They're over on the far side of the course. We were looking at Benjamin Birchall of Brisbane State High, but now we pan across to the Unley High Scholar Mitchell Reinhardt, who has been imperious here in this Schoolboy single scull A final. He is well clear, and there's going to be a good scrap on for the minor medals with the sculler in lane number 5, Zachary Noble, who was really pushed through. He was well back in the early stages of this one. He was even 5th going through the halfway mark, but he has now moved into second spot. Benjamin Birchall in 3rd, Mitch Blackmore-Cram in the cerise colours of St Joseph's College, Hunters Hill in 5th, followed by Swan, Andrew Walther and Torben Ungermark is back in 8th position. But Mitchell Reinhardt having a bit of a glance around. He's now coming up to the bridge just before the 1,750 metre mark, and he has a few boat lengths in hand on the rest of the field. The biggest mover has been Zachary Noble of St Ignatius College, but Mitchell Reinhardt there at 33 strokes a minute. He has a great finish, but he certainly hasn't been pushed to have to use it. He now makes his way up through the 1,800 metre mark ahead of Zachary Noble of St Ignatius College, coached by Michael Doyle and the great Dan Noonan. And he's had a very, very good second half of his race, moving up into the silver medal spot ahead of Benjamin Birchall, who's been in the mix for the bulk of the race. Connor Hopkins on the far side for St Augustine's is really flying home. He's certainly dropping those blades in very, very quickly. He's at 40 strokes a minute on the far side of the course. Mitch Blackmore-Cram gave himself every opportunity, but he is fading, and he'll start to see some attacks on his bow side for the race for 5th position. But Mitchell Reinhardt, never in doubt, dominant in the Schoolboy single scull. He'll take out the A final. Very, very good finish from Zachary Noble of St Ignatius College. He wins a silver medal. Bronze to Benjamin Birchall, who had to respond to a great finish from Connor Hopkins of St Augustine's over on the far side of the course. He places a very creditable 4th. Mitch Blackmore-Cram holds on. He's in the pain cave there in 5th. 6th goes to St Peter's College, James Andrew Walther, followed by Torben Ungermark in 7th. And in 8th place, Lachlan Swan.
Unofficially in race 466, the final of the Schoolboy single scull. First place, Mitchell Reinhardt. 2nd, Zachary Noble. 3rd, Benjamin Birchall. 4th, Connor Hopkins. 5th, Mitch Blackmore-Cram. 6th, James Andrew Walther. 7th, Torben Ungermark. And 8th, Lachlan Swan. The winning time 7:25.88 and margin 4.34 seconds. The presentation of medals for the Schoolgirls Single Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Emma Brown, Counsellor, Rowing Queensland. In 3rd place, and bronze medalist, representing All Hallows School, Georgia Powell. In 2nd place, and silver medalist, representing Maribyrnong Secondary College, Ruby Bray. Gold medalist and Australian champion for 2018, representing St Scholastica's College, Nicola Martinchik. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. We're racing in 467, the A final of the Schoolgirls Coxed 4. Lane 1, Ballarat Grammar. Lane 2, Lauriston Girls. Lane 3, Furbank Grammar. Lane 4, Loretto Ballarat. Lane 5, Queenwood. Lane 6, Ballarat High. Lane 7, Damascus. Lane 8, Roseville.
And it is the crew in lane number 5, Queenwood, Danielle Stewart, Olivia O'Donnell, Sophie Houston and Ellie Clubb. Coxed by Emily Brunner and coached by Adam DeConing. And the great Irishman, Kieran Glynn, that lead this one. They're pushed out to 3/4 of a length's advantage over Ballarat High School. Ella Glenwright, Ella Lukic, Darcy McMicken and Lauren Salter with Maddie Harwood coxing. And that's Queenwood on screen. They're based their program out of Mossman Rowing Club, and they've got their stars on the side of their Zudi. And Ballarat High there in the 2 blues in lane number 6. But in second spot and moving up is Loretto Ballarat, and the Ballarat School's such a strong tradition in four-oared rowing, and no surprise to see them at the pointy end of the field in the Schoolgirls Cox 4. So it is Queenwood leading from Loretto Ballarat, Furbank Grammar in the yellow colours towards the top of the screen. They're in third spot, and they're followed by Ballarat High in fourth. Over on the far side of the course, Ballarat Grammar and Lauriston Girls are trading blows over there, and then it is back to Roseville on this side of the course with the Preston Rose boat there in lane number 8. They're in 7th, and Damascus from Victoria are in 8th and final position. So Loretto Ballarat having a good second 500 metres as Tegan Blythe, Maddie Clark, Laura Foley, Molly Greck and Grace Turner the coxswain. Barry Housel, the coach of the crew. And they're there with the overlap with the Queenwood School crew at the head of this field in the A final of the Schoolgirl Cox 4. St Hilda's the winner last year, and no crews here from Queensland in the A final. It is largely a Victorian strong field. 6 of the 8 crews here from Victoria and 2 crews from New South Wales in Roseville, and the race leaders Queenwood School for Girls. So it's been a very, very good second 500 here from the crew from Loretto Ballarat as they push up half a length behind the race leaders on screen. Queenwood School for Girls as they start to move through the 1,000-metre mark. In third spot, Furbank Grammar in the gold colours, a further length or so in arrears, and Ballarat High in fourth spot. So the centre lanes 3 through to 6, where the leaders are. And then it is back to the fringes of the field with Roseville on this side of the course having improved from 7th through to 6th. Ballarat Grammar on the far side of the course moved up from 6th into 5th, and then it is back to Damascus from Ballarat and Lauriston Girls in 8th position. Queenwood there with the tandem rig where 2 people are on the same side of the boat in 2 and 3 seat. And they were second in the Schoolgirl 8 at the New South Wales Schoolgirl Head of the River behind Pymble Ladies College. And they've got girls here racing the 4, Adam DeConing and Kieran Glynn, who were New South Wales Schoolgirl Coaches of the Year last year, in charge of this crew. They run a very organised program there at Queenwood. Alfie Young is the director of rowing there. And they have had a very, very good last 8 or 9 years at Queenwood School since Alfie Young took over. And they continue to lead as they move up towards 1,400 metres covered from Loretto Ballarat in second spot, and Furbank Grammar still in the bronze medal position. Alex White, Sam Gillies, Georgia Thompson, Emery Frederico and Lucy Burnell coxing. David McGrath and Cade Greenland, the coaches. So coming up through the 1,500 metres, and Queenwood really responded. They've been able to shake Loretto Ballarat off and hold them now at just over a boat length. They're just starting to get rid of an overlap. Queenwood School, Danielle Stewart, and in the bow seat, Olivia O'Donnell. They're a substitute in for Alexandra Nell. Sophie Houston, Ellie Clubb, Emily Brunner coxing them in that bow cox 4. And Queenwood School for girls continuing on their great success in the last decade or so as they continue to hold sway over Loretto Ballarat in second spot. Furbank Grammar there in lane number 3 in third spot, as we now look at Loretto Ballarat in lane number 4. They're at 34 strokes a minute as they come up towards the 1,750 metre mark, and it looks as though they pressured Queenwood in the first half of the race, but Queenwood School for Girls had a decisive push in the third 500 metres that has seen them move clear. And it's Queenwood that are well on the way to claiming this national schoolgirl title in the coxed 4. Very good performance coming from Roseville on this side of the course. They have really pushed through the field. Josette Pearce, Katie Ashworth, Alex Brown, Georgia McCardle, Sophie Snade, and coached by Gonzalo Briones. And they're now challenging Ballarat Grammar on the far side of the course, and have moved ahead of Ballarat Grammar in the race for the 4th spot. And going with them on this side is Damascus and Ballarat High. So it's a lot of interest in those placings 4 through to 7. But Queenwood School take out the Schoolgirl Cox 4 Championship of Australia. Silver going to Loretto Ballarat, and Furbank Grammar will claim bronze. Roseville have come flying home, and they're challenging the crew on the far side of the course from Ballarat Grammar School. They're going stroke for stroke. Ballarat Grammar just claim 4th, Roseville 5th, 6th going to Damascus College, and 7th to Ballarat High, and 8th will be the crew from Lauriston Girls over in lane number 2.
Unofficial results in race 467, the A final of the Schoolgirls Coxed 4. First place, Queenwood. Second, Loretto Ballarat. Third, Furbank Grammar. Fourth at this stage, Ballarat Grammar. 5th, Roseville. 6th, Damascus. 7th, Ballarat High. And 8th, Lauriston Girls. Winning time 7:34.08 and the margin 5.03 seconds. The presentation of medals for the Schoolboys Single Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Emma Brown, Counsellor, Rowing Queensland. In third place, and bronze medalist representing Brisbane State High School, Benjamin Birchall. In second place, and silver medalist, representing St Ignatius College, Zachary Noble. The gold medalist and Australian champion for 2018, representing Unley High, Mitchell Reinhard. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. Race 468 is the A final of the Schoolboys Coxed 4. Lane 1, Rockhampton Grammar School. Lane 2, Ballarat Clarendon College. Lane 3, Ballarat High. Lane 4, St Patrick's Ballarat. Lane 5, Melbourne High. Lane 6, Newington. Lane 7, Hutchins. Lane 8, Newington.
Now it is St Patrick's College Ballarat that lead this one, and it is Connor Shug, Regan Champley, James Crilly and Hamish Crawley, and they're coxed by Jackson Long and coached by Brendan Scott. They're there in the blue shorts, white top, and the St Patrick's with the clover on them, the green clover on them, and they're in the lead, and they lead from Melbourne High in second place in lane number 5. It's been a pretty good regatta for Melbourne High School. They're in second spot. Ballarat High in third, and they're followed by Hutchins in fourth on this side of the course, and then Newington also on this side of the course in lane number 6. They've got 2 crews that are qualified for this final, and then it is back to Ballarat and Clarendon, the second of the Newington crews on this side, and Rockhampton Grammar on the far side of the course in 8th position. So it's these 2 crews, St Patrick's College Ballarat and Melbourne High School. Half a length separating them, and then it's a length from Melbourne High School back to the crew in third place. And that is starting to emerge on this side of the course with the crew in lane number 6, Newington, the New South Wales Institute of Sport. It's Richmond Sear, Luca Roncolato, Alexander Potter and Harry Crouch, coxed by Charlie Nicholas. Newington decided to withdraw their 2 8s, and they're focusing on the 4 here. They were having a good season in New South Wales in the 8 until Head of the River, where they placed 6th, and decided to not take their chances in the Schoolboy 8 and to focus on the 4s, and they're currently in third spot with their top crew, third out from the grandstand. But it is St Patrick's that are looking good and just starting to push a little bit away from Melbourne High School in second spot. It is Newington on screen as they head Hutchins from Hobart in Tasmania, who are there in 4th spot. Ballarat High are in 5th position, followed by Rockhampton Grammar, who have improved in that second 500 metres. Ballarat and Clarendon are in 7th, and the Newington crew on this side of the course in 8th position. Can St Patrick's College Ballarat move out to clear water over Melbourne High School? Can Melbourne High School start to chew away into that lead as they head up towards the 1,500 metre mark. And Newington also just trying to get a bit of an overlap with Melbourne High School, and that's something they haven't had in the race up until now. Newington there with the black blades and the white colours with black trim and the black stripe down the middle of the back. And Hutchins hanging doggedly with them. Hutchins represented by Oliver Lamb, Hamish Allen, Dylan Taylor, Jared McMullen, Charles Parnham, the coxswain, and coached by Alexander Thompson and Roger Moore. And it's those four schools that are at the fore here as we move into the last 400 metres, and St Patrick's College have got what they were seeking, a little bit of clear water, just starting to emerge from the stern of their boat to the bow of the Melbourne High School crew, represented by Yotam Brotman, Gavril Gurovic, John Poliniak and Connor Knight, Philip Tran coxing them, and coached by Dylan Kernow and Paul McGann. And St Patrick's Ballarat well on the way as they come through, 1,700 metres gone to taking out this A final of the Schoolboy Cox 4. Newington College now pushing up on Melbourne High School, and they've got that deficit down to only about somewhere in the vicinity of half a boat length, and likewise Hutchins with half a length down on Newington and closing on them as well. So certainly the minor medals, there's a great race going on, and it's starting to see them go into their sprints and push up just a little bit on St Patrick's Ballarat, who have controlled this race very, very well. They're 36 strokes a minute at the head of the field. Melbourne High School trying to hold off Newington for that silver medal. They're on 38 strokes a minute, and Newington now just starting to push ahead of the challenge that Hutchins had thrown at them. Hutchins looked destined to finish fourth and just out of the medals in this one. St Patrick's College Ballarat will take out the Schoolboy Cox 4 Championship of Australia. Newington close on Melbourne High School, but the line will come too close. St Patrick's gold, Melbourne High silver, bronze to Newington College, fourth to Hutchins. They'll be then followed by a fast finishing Newington crew on this side of the course in lane number 8, who place 5th, followed by Ballarat High in 6th, Rockhampton Grammar in 7th, and Ballarat Clarendon placing 8th.
The unofficial results of race 468, the A final of the Schoolboys Cox 4. First place, St Patrick's Ballarat. Second, Melbourne High. Third, Newington. It's Newington lane 6. Fourth, Hutchins. Fifth, Newington lane 8. Sixth, Ballarat High. Seventh, Rockhampton Grammar. Eighth, Ballarat Clarendon. Winning time 6:44.44, and the margin 1.74 seconds. The presentation of medals for the Schoolgirls Coxed 4 Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Craig James, OAM, Counsellor, Rowing Western Australia. In third place, and bronze medalists, representing Furbank Grammar, Alex White, Sam Gillies, Georgia Thompson, Emmy Frederico, and Lucy Burnell. In second place, and silver medalists, representing Loretto College Ballarat, Tegan Blythe, Maddie Clark, Laura Foley. Molly Gretsch. And Grace Turner. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, representing Queenwood School, Danielle Stewart, Olivia O'Donnell, Sophie Houston, Ellie Clubb, and Emily Brunner. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. The eights are underway in race 469, the A final of the under-17 Schoolgirls Coxed 8. Lane 1 is St Catharines, Sydney. Lane 2, Canberra Girls Grammar. Lane 3, Kinross Walleroy. Lane 4, Loretto Toorak. Lane 5, PLC Perth. Lane 6, Queenwood. Lane 7, Loretto Kirribilli. And Lane 8, MLCQ.
And in qualifying for the A final, we had PLC Perth taking out one of the heats, Loretto Toorak taking out the others, and joining them directly qualifying Queenwood and Kinross Walleroy. And it was Loretto Kirribilli, MLCQ, Canberra Girls and St Catharines had to qualify via the repechage, but it's Kinross Walleroy School, the New South Wales champions this event, that have led this one out through the first 500 metres from the darker blue boat of Loretto Toorak. PLC Perth, the fastest of the qualifiers for this one. They were in third spot, and just moving up alongside Loretto Toorak, Canberra Girls Grammar over on the, or towards the far side of the course in lane number 2, just heading Loretto Kirribilli in the dark blue boat on this side of the course, and in the grey boat of Queenwood is next there with St Catharines and MLCQ back on this side of the course in 8th position. So Kinross Walleroy taking this one out to the rest of the field. And we're starting to see the crew from Loretto Toorak and PLC Perth go with them in this second 500. It's been an impressive event, the under-17 Schoolgirls 8, since it was brought into the Sydney National Rowing Regatta, and seeing really some really close racing and some really exciting racing in this event, and set to see a crack of a race develop here over the next 1,200 metres as Kinross Walleroy, Loretto Toorak and PLC Perth do battle here at the head of the field, and Loretto Kirribilli along with the crew in lane number 2, Canberra Girls Grammar there. So 5 crews here at the head of the field as they push towards the 1,000 metre mark, and it is still the lighter blue boat of Kinross Walleroy School that narrowly leads from the white shell of PLC Perth. Loretto Toorak in the dark blue Hudson boat in third spot, and Loretto Kirribilli just ahead of Canberra Girls Grammar. Queenwood are next in 6th position, followed by MLC School on this side and St Catharines over on the far side of the course. They don't often race in an 8, and it's great to see that Jared Watson and Richard Coakley were able to get a very good St Catharines crew to qualify for the A final here in the under-17 Schoolgirl 8. But a push is coming now from Loretto Toorak in the dark blue boat, and they've just started to move into the lead. They're at 36 strokes a minute as they've just moved their bow in front of Kinross Walleroy with the white colours and the 2 blue stripes. And then it is PLC Perth in third spot, and we'll see if the fastest qualifiers have something in store for the last 650 metres of this under-17 schoolgirl coxed 8 event. But Loretto Taraka pushed to the lead, and now we've got PLC Perth only sitting a couple of seats down on Kinross Wallaroi in that battle for the silver medal over on the far side of the course. Canberra Girls Grammar still can't be discounted. They're starting to push up now on the crew from PLC Perth, and Loretto Kirribilli also hanging right in there out of lane number 7. So that crew containing Lily Eales, the daughter of John Eales, the Wallabies captain, and doing quite well on this side of the course, second out from the grandstand. PLC Perth in the green colours there, their boat named Hannah Vermeesh, after the Olympian from Rio de Janeiro. And they're sitting at about half a length down on Loretto Tarak, so it's been a very, very strong middle thousand from the school in the dark blue boat, Loretto Tarak. They've now moved out to just over half a length, now 2/3 of a length, and they're starting to push away now from PLC Perth, who have moved up into second spot ahead of Kinross Wallaroi School. Loretto Tarak, Mia O'Callaghan, Mia Caffrey, Amy Quinlan, Natalie Catalfamo, Anika Davis, Alexandra Desmond, Katerina Bitsios, and Sophie O'Connell. Miller Hoffman, the coxswain, coached by Tom Lincoln, Jack Steele and Martin Francis, have moved clear. And a fine race developing on for silver and bronze. PLC Perth in second spot. Kinross Wallaroi, who took the race out hard, have come under a lot of pressure now from Loretto Kirribilli on this side of the course with the yellow blades and the blue boat. And over on the far side of the course, Canberra Girls Grammar also trying to put some pressure on the crews for the minor medals. They're in 5th, Queenwood are in 6th, and MLC Q starting to challenge them for that 6th position. And out of it over on the far side of the course are St Catherine's from Waverley in New South Wales. But Loretto Tarak, it was the middle thousand where they did the damage. PLC Perth trying to put in a late challenge, and Kinross Wallaroi, who always have such a good final sprint, using it once again to try and claw back on PLC Perth. And they have just started to put their bow in front for the silver medal and climb back on Loretto Tarak. Loretto Tarak claimed gold, silver to Kinross Wallaroi, PLC Perth claimed bronze. 4th goes to Canberra Girls Grammar, 5th to Loretto Kirribilli, and 6th will be Queenwood School. They'll be followed by MLCQ in 7th, and St Catherine's Waverley placing in 8th position.
The unofficial result of race 469, the A final of the under-17 Schoolgirls Coxed 8. First place, Loretto Tarak. 2nd, Kinross Wallaroi. 3rd, PLC Perth. 4th is Canberra Girls Grammar School. 5th, Loretto Kirribilli. 6th, Queenwood. 7th, MLCQ. And 8th, St Catherine's Sydney. The winning time for Loretto, 7:08.94, a margin of 1.20 seconds. The presentation of medals for the Schoolboys Coxed 4 Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Craig James, OAM, Counsellor, Rowing Western Australia. In 3rd place, and bronze medalists, Newington College. Richmond SIRR. Luca Roncolato. Alexander Potter. Harry Crouch. and Charlie Nicholas. In second place, and silver medalists, Melbourne High. Yotam Brotman, Gavril Gurovic, John Poliniak, Connor Knight, and Philip Tran. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, St Patrick's College, Connor Shug, Regan Champley, James Crilly, Hamish Crawley, and Jackson Long. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. Race 470 is the final of the under-17 Schoolboys coxed 8. Lane 3, Wesley. Lane 4, St Augustine's. Lane 5, St Ignatius. Lane 6, Shaw.
And it is the St Augustine's crew in the green colours that lead this field. And they led through the 500 metre mark in 132.50, and they led from the Shaw School on this side of the course. St Ignatius were in third and fourth. Wesley from Western Australia on the far side of the course in lane number 3. But it is St Augustine's, a relatively new program that was started by Olympic gold medalist and Olympic bronze medalist in the women's 8, Judith Ungermark, who's the coach of this crew. And St Augustine's represented by Luke O'Connor, Oliver Thomas, Oscar Davis, Mungo Murphy, Finn Lawton, Tom Gerrans, Patrick Burke, Nicholas Pender, and Tom Faflin is the coxswain of the crew. And they lead from Shaw on this side of the course, who have such a great tradition in this class of boat with their Year 10 first eights, normally very, very strong. Jessica Wickenden and Glenn Bates have been in coaching that boat for a number of years. Dom Grimm, also one of the coaches previously of their boat. And that's Shaw there in lane number 6 with the blue bucket hats on this side of the course. But it is the crew from St Augustine's that continue to lead from the Shaw School at the halfway mark, 2.38 seconds ahead of Shaw. St Ignatius are in third, and Wesley still there in fourth spot and in with a chance of a medal in this one. But moving out to the best part of a boat length's advantage, St Augustine's ahead of the Shaw School in second spot. And St Ignatius, they were finished a fair bit behind Shaw at the head of the river in this class of boat in New South Wales. So they're certainly doing well. They're only sitting at around about a length in arrears of the Shaw School. You can just see their bow, the number 5 there, the yellow number 5 that's just starting to appear on screen. And that is now the St Augustine's crew out of lane number 4. New Hudson boat that they picked up earlier on this season. And they're continuing to control this race in this third 500 metres, and Shaw seeing if they can try and reel them back a little bit. They have got the slightest of overlaps, but Shaw seeing if they can then start to get their bow man level with the strokeman of the St Augustine's crew and give themselves a chance to reel them in as they head up towards the 1500 metre mark. St Augustine's, a school over towards Manly. They have their rowing program based out of Mossman Rowing Club. There are a number of schools are based there, along with Loretto, Kirribilli, Redlands, Queenwood School, North Sydney Girls High, a whole heap over at the Pearl Bay Complex at Mossman. And St Augustine's continue to lead the Shaw School, and in third spot is St Ignatius, and Wesley still in with a shot here for the bronze medal, the crew on the far side of the course. The St Augustine's crew, the green blades there on 36 strokes a minute. And Shaw mounting a bit of a challenge to them as they head up towards the 1750 metre mark. They do have the overlap and they have taken a few seats out of them. And it's Shaw that are finishing off strongly on this side of the course. They're a couple of points lower at 35 strokes a minute. And then it is back to the good race going on for the bronze medal between St Ignatius College and Wesley from Western Australia. It's St Augustine's. Strokeman having a bit of a look across to see the Shaw School on his left. And they come into the last 70 metres, and St Augustine's will sit to take out another national title. Have claimed one previously in the Schoolboy 4, and it will be the under-17 Schoolboy coxed 8 for St Augustine's. They take it out over the Shaw School, who will claim the silver medal. Wesley have finished off very strongly, and they're going to row over the top of St Ignatius College here for the bronze medal. They're about 3 or 4 seats ahead, and it will be Wesley from Western Australia that claim the bronze medal. St Ignatius College finish a gallant 4th.
The unofficial result of race 470, the final of the under-17 Schoolboys coxed 8. First place, St Augustine's from New South Wales. Second, Shaw. Third, Wesley, Perth. And fourth, St Ignatius. The winning time, 6:23.36. Margin 3.34 seconds. The presentation of medals for the under-17 Schoolgirls coxed 8. The medals will be presented by the Honourable Patrick McNamara, Councillor, Rowing Victoria, and former President of Rowing Australia. In third place, and bronze medalists, Presbyterian Ladies College, Perth, Rebecca Gunsberg, Georgia Kestel, Maddie Marley, Brenna Orrick, Samantha Dakin, Jess Vinicum, Isabella Ahern, Abby Weber, and Tara Rogers. In second place, and silver medalists, Kinross Walleroy, Bridget Longley, Georgie Poole. Isabella Scammell. Bridget Yeomans. Charlie Harding. Phoebe Lampf. Olivia Hilda. Lucy Jenkins. Jetta Kennett. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, Loretto Turak, Mia O'Callaghan, Mia Caffrey, Amy Quinlan, Natalie Califamo, Annika Davies, Alexandra Desmond, Katerina Bitsios, Sophie O'Connell, and Mila Hoffman. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. Race 471 is the A final of the Schoolgirls Coxed Quad Scull. Lane 1, Hunter Valley Grammar. Lane 2, Stewart Home. Lane 3, Kinross Walleroy. Lane 4, Wrighton Girls. Lane 5, Radford College. Lane 6, Rockhampton Grammar. Lane 7, Stewart Home. Lane 8, Seymour College.
The semi-final winners were the crews from Radford College and Wrighton Girls. And through the first 500 metres, Radford College led from Kinross Walleroy, Wrighton Girls in third. Fourth was Stewart Home from Brisbane, Rockhampton Grammar in fifth place, followed by Hunter Valley Grammar, Seymour College, and the other of the Stewart Home crews. A great effort from them, qualifying 2 crews for the final. It is Radford College in the lead. Radford College, a school based in Bruce, right next to the campus of the University of Canberra, and their program headed by Vicky Spencer, who's one of the coaches of this crew. Liz Kell has recently joined their coaching program at Radford College, a 2006 world champion in the women's double scull and Olympian as well, and also coach of that crew, Charlotte Cross. And they're coming through the 1,000 metre mark, half a length ahead of Wrighton Girls, the fastest of the qualifiers. Matt Wilson always brings a very, very good schoolgirl quad, if not 2 or 3. The school also achieves very, very well academically, and they often limit the number of crews they can bring along, but on occasion they've had 2 or 3 crews make the A final of the Schoolgirl Cox Quad Scull. That crew is Eliza Gaffney, Katya De Bortley, Jean Mitchell, Elora Kelly, and Vinhara Gunasekara is the coxswain, and they're starting to creep up and have moved up to only about a third of a length down on the early race leaders. Radford College, Radford on screen there with Lily Smith-Saranen, Jacinta Buckman, Annie Creer in the 3 seat, and in the 4 seat, Nicola Greenland. Annie Creer having stroked their crews for so many years, only till a month ago, and they've moved Nicola Greenland into the stroke seat and Creer sitting behind her in the 3 seat. And it is Right Girl starting to creep up on the early race leaders, Radford College. But these two quality Schoolgirl quad sculls are moving away from the rest of the field. In the third spot is Stuart Home on this side of the course, followed by Kinross Wallaroy. And then it is back to Rockhampton Grammar, Seymour College, Hunter Valley Grammar on the far side, and the second of the Stuart Home crews also over there on the far side of the course. Matt Wilson, the coach of the Wrighton Girls crew, a huge Richmond fan. He was there when they won the Australian Rules Grand Final for the first time in 37 years. And his crew just about drawing up on level terms as they head up towards the 1500 metre mark. Wrighton Girls moving on the race leaders for the bulk of the race, and it's Wrighton now just starting to just put their bow into the race lead. He's taken Wrighton to Henley previously, Matt Wilson, and I understand they potentially are looking at doing the same this year and challenging the top quads from LEH and Headington School and the likes from the UK. The Wrighton Girls moving into the lead. Gaffney, DeBordley, Mitchell and Kelly and Gunaseka are there in the bow of the boat. And it's been a very, very strong push. They went from a third of a length down to a third of a length up in the space of only about 150 metres. And Wrighton Girls in the yellow caps have really moved on Radford. And credit to Radford, their tactics. They knew the Wrighton crew was fast and they thought they'd put them under a bit of pressure early. And Wrighton have responded in the way that a classy Matt Wilson crew can. And as they head into the last 250 metres, it's Wrighton that have moved out to 3/4 of a length and trying to push away to a length's advantage. Stuart Homer going along strongly in third spot on this side of the course. Kyla O'Shaughnessy, Zara Wareham, Sophia Tully, Emma Tucker and Isabel Maley, the coxswain. And they're there in third spot, followed by Rockhampton Grammar, Kinross Wallaroy, and then back to Seymour College in sixth. And then over to the second of the Stuart Home crew in seventh, and Hunter Valley Grammar School in eighth position. But Wrighton Girls, with strong second half of the race, and this school that has such a great history in the Schoolgirl coxed quad sculls is set to add to it at the 2018 Aon Sydney International Rowing Regatta, as they will take out the Schoolgirl coxed quad scull A final. In the end, a length and a half ahead of Radford. Credit Radford for their tactics. They went out hard to challenge them and they come home with the silver medal. And bronze set to go to Stuart Home ahead of Kinross Wallaroy, who started out very hard. They place fourth, Rockhampton Grammar fifth, Seymour College from Adelaide will be sixth, followed by Stuart Home in seventh and Hunter Valley Grammar School in eighth position.
That's the last couple of crews across the line. The unofficial results of race 471, the A final, the Schoolgirls coxed quad scull. First place, Wrighton Girls. Second, Radford College. Third, Stuart Home. Fourth, Kinross Wallaroy. Fifth, Rockhampton Grammar. Sixth, Seymour College. Seventh, Stuart Home. And eighth was Hunter Valley Grammar. The time there now 7:21.59 and the margin 4.49 seconds. The crews are in the blocks for race 472, the A final, the Schoolboys coxed quad scull. Lane 1 is Newcastle Grammar. Lane 2, Kinross Wallaroy. Lane 3, a second crew from Newcastle Grammar. Lane 4, Radford College. Lane 5, another crew from Kinross Wallaroy. Lane 6 is Redlands. Lane 7, the Southport School. And lane 8, Brisbane State High School.
Newcastle Grammar, Kinross Wallaroy,
Waiting for a start in the Schoolboys coxed quad scull. A reminder, please, to all crews to return your bow numbers as soon as possible after the end of each race. They are running low in the boat shed, so please return your bow numbers. We're about to go to a presentation, but first, here's Owen Nix with the opening stages of the Schoolboys coxed quad scull.
And closest to us on screen, Brisbane State High School. They've got Lachlan Donchak and Benjamin Birchall, who we saw in the Schoolboy Scull finals earlier on this morning. So they're doubling up here with their second race of the morning.
The presentation of medals for the under-17 Schoolboys coxed 8. Medals will be presented by the Honourable Patrick McNamara, Councillor Rowing Victoria and former President of Rowing Australia. In third place, and bronze medalists, Wesley College Perth, Jeremy Isherwood, Harrison Beek, Aaron Crawley, Todd Copler,
Race 473, Schoolgirl.
Josh Woodcock, Aria Almasi, Adam Hunt, Harvey Rupp, and James Fowler. In second place, and silver medalists, the Shaw School, Declan Glendinning, Ben Sinclair, Finn Hancock, William Austin, Angus Myerscough, Oliver Chapman, Jonathan Atkinson, James McCardle, Nico McIntyre. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, St Augustine's College, Luke O'Connor, Oliver Thomas, Oscar Davis, Mungo Murphy, Finn Lawton, Tom Gerrans, Patrick Burke, Nicholas Pender, and Tom Faflin. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists.
And on the course now is the Schoolboy coxed quad scull, and it is Newcastle Grammar on screen that lead this one and lead it comfortably. Sam Barnett, Maximilian Routh, Owen Brown, Alex Oakley, Acacia Ozturk, the coxswain, and their coach Gavin Ellis. Gavin Ellis, the first ever rower to row for Newcastle Grammar School, and 20 years on, he's coaching a crew that is leading this Schoolboy coxed quad scull final and leading it with clear water over a great battle that is going on and has been going on all the way down the course. Redlands are there in lane number 6, and they've been doing battle with Radford College, who have been in second place for a large part of the race, and Kinross Wallaroy are looming large in lane number 5 with Moon, Sear, Mutton and Smith, and Maggie Jean Smith in the bow of that boat. Radford College in second spot, and they're only there by just over a canvas on Redlands in third. Radford with John Baker, Daniel Marshark, Finn Sullivan, Miguel Fernandez and Patrick Morrison, the coxswain, and coached by Vicky Spencer. But Newcastle Grammar School in the white colours with the blue and red diagonal sashes coming into the last 100 metres and still enjoying clear water over Radford and Redlands, who are continuing to fight it out for the silver medal. But Newcastle Grammar clear of it all. And they're at only about 34, 35 strokes a minute. So these guys can often be rating much higher than this, but only needing to rate 34 as they cross the line and take out the Schoolboy coxed quad scull. A great performance for Radford, claiming the silver medal. Redlands claim bronze. 4th to Kinross Wallaroy. 5th also to Kinross Wallaroy, just ahead of the Southport School from the Gold Coast in Queensland. And Newcastle Grammar will claim 7th with their second crew in Brisbane State High, capping out a field of 8.
And the unofficial results of race 472, the A final of the Schoolboys coxed quad scull. First place Newcastle Grammar, second Radford College, third Redlands, 4th Kinross Wallaroy, 5th place also Kinross Wallaroy, so it was Kinross lane 5 from Kinross lane 2 by at the moment 1/100th of a second. 6th place the Southport School, 7th Newcastle Grammar, 8th Brisbane State High School. The unofficial winning time 6:41.63 and the margin 3.41. The winners were Newcastle Grammar, lane 3 in the Schoolboys coxed quad scull. We have 2 A finals to go at the school part of this year's regatta, and the penultimate one is the Schoolgirls coxed 8. You can see the crews there on the screen in the start blocks. Lane 1, Scotch College, Adelaide. Lane 2, the Friends School. Lane 3, St Catherine's from Melbourne. Lane 4, the defending champions, Walford Anglican School from Adelaide. Lane 5, MLC from Kew. Lane 6, Pinball Ladies. Lane 7, Loretto Toorak. And lane 8 is PLC Perth.
Schoolgirl 8s, and great to see a number of Victorian schools in there. Last year, Victoria didn't finish in the top 3 placings after having all 3 the previous year before. It was Walford that won last year. They had a great form through the middle 1,000 of the race, Walford, and they go out of lane number 4.
Friends.
MLC School Q alongside of them. And St Catherine's, who looked very, very good in qualifying here in lane number 3.
Pinball Ladies. Loretto Toorak. MLC Perth. Attention.
And we are underway in the Schoolgirl 8 with Scotch over in 1, Friends in 2.
The presentation of medals for the Schoolgirls Coxed Quad Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by David Bagnall, Counsellor, Rowing ACT. In third place, and bronze medalists, Stewart Home School, Kyla O'Shaughnessy, Zara Wareham, Sophia Tully, Emma Tucker, and Isabel Maley. In second place, and silver medalists, Radford College, Lily Smith-Saarinen, Jacinta Buckman, Annie Creer, Nicola Greenland, and Spencer Burns. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, Wrighton Girls School, Eliza Gaffney, Katja de Bortoli, Jean Mitchell, Alora Kelly, and Vinhara Gunasekara. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. Back on the water at St Catherine's, leading after the first 500 metres of the Schoolgirl coxed 8, approaching halfway. Here's Owen Nix.
Thanks, Richard. Yes, it's been a very, very strong second 500. They had a gap of 2.21 seconds at the first 500 and started to grow that a little bit. The crew from St Catherine's and ahead of Walford in second spot. Pymble on this side of the course with the Red Caps are in third. And MLCQ, who have had many great battles with Pymble in recent years, they're in fourth spot and a very close fourth indeed. But it's the yellow boat of St Catherine's School that lead this one and have a pretty handy margin coming into this second half of the race. In fifth position, PLC Perth, Loretto Tarak with their bow just coming into view without a number there in lane number 7. They're in sixth, followed by Friends, who managed to knock off Walford in the under-19 8, but are struggling here behind them in the Schoolgirl 8, and Scotch College Adelaide on the far side of the course in final place. But 12.50 gone, and almost clear water now from the crew from St Catherine's out of Melbourne, Victoria, coached by David Framano and John Saunders. Pymble Ladies College in second spot, just moving ahead of Walford and just taking an extra couple of seats from them. And in fourth spot, MLCQ, who are always very, very strong in the Schoolgirl 8 and often qualified to Schoolgirl crews for the final. They haven't this year. They had one in the B final, but always very, very strong. You can count on that MLCQ in the Schoolgirl 8. So over on the far side, a pretty upright sort of crew, the St Catherine's crew. They use a fair bit of the body swing early, but they're moving it along nicely and ahead of Pymble Ladies College in second spot. So Pymble have managed to move back a little bit. They're down about 3/4 of a boat length, but as this St Catherine's school that have the advantage, they're on 34 strokes a minute. Pymble on this side of the course won the New South Wales Schoolgirl Head of the River. They're also on 34 strokes a minute, but St Catherine's are certainly very, very well placed coming into the last 400 metres of this as they lead Pymble Ladies College. And then it is back to the crew from MLC who have moved ahead of Walford. So Walford, who had that great middle 1,000 last year, it's what has not been with them this year as they've been pushed back into fourth and are starting to see challenges from PLC Perth on this side of the course. And then it is back to Loretto Tarak, and then Friends over on the far side, followed by Scotch in 8th position. So Pymble Ladies College, they had a very strong last 500 to win the New South Wales School Head of the River, but they'll need something super special to reel in St Catherine's, who have really thrown out a huge challenge to the rest of the crews in the first 1,500 metres of this one. St Catherine's up on 36, but Pymble are coming at them, and so are MLCQ. So have St Catherine's burnt all their bickies in the early stages of this one. They move into the last 100 metres, and Pymble Ladies College have moved into the race lead. And St Catherine's are now coming under fire from fellow Victorians, MLCQ. But it's Pymble Ladies College that are coached by Simon Pennington and Jeff Patterson. It's been a while since they've taken out the Sydney Cup for the Schoolgirl Coxed Championship of Australia, but 2018 is theirs again. Very close for the silver medal. I think St Catherine's are lucky the line was just there. I think one more stroke and it might have been MLCQ that claimed the silver medal. Fourth goes to Walford. Very close for 5th and 6th between Friends and PLC Perth. Loretto Tarak in 7th and Scotch College Adelaide in 8th. But Pymble coming from behind to take out the Schoolgirl 8.
And we await a photo finish at this stage for the minor placings in race 473. Up on the screen now you can see unofficially first Pymble Ladies from Sydney, second place St Catherine's Melbourne at this stage, third MLCQ, fourth Walford Anglican, fifth PLC Perth, sixth Friends, seventh Loretto Tarak, eighth Scotch College Adelaide. Winning time for Pymble 6:55.20. They won it by 1.7 seconds, and at this stage, unofficially, St Catherine's second by 7/100ths over MLCQ. The presentation of medals for the Schoolboys coxed quad scull. The medals will be presented by Jamie Fernandez, Rowing Australia Deputy Performance Director and Olympic silver medalists, accompanied by David Bagnall, President, Rowing ACT. In third place, and bronze medalists, Redlands, Gabrielle O'Sullivan, Max Durant, Harrison Blackall, Alec Price, Sophie Galtheron, second place, and silver medalists, Radford College, John Baker, Daniel Marchak, Finn Sullivan, Miguel Fernandez, and Patrick Morrison. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, Newcastle Grammar, Sam Barnett, Maximilian Routh, Ewan Brown, Alex Oakley, and Acacia Ozturk. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. Last of our school races on the course. They're racing for the Barrington Cup in the A final of the Schoolboys coxed 8. Lane 1 just off the plane from Victoria, Scotch College, Melbourne. Lane 2 is Nudgee College. Lane 3 the Southport School. Lane 4 the Shore School. Lane 5 Scotch Oakburn. Lane 6 St Peter's College. Lane 7 Shore. And lane 8 the Launceston Church Grammar School.
Well, and just like the sun rising in the east and just like Syracuse playing a zone defence, you know Shore is always going to take it out very, very hard indeed. Southport led them in the under-19-8 earlier in the week and they faded to finish in 4th spot. They've been a little bit more conservative off the start in this one, but as Shore led through the first 500 from the Southport School, the head of the river winners in Queensland, Scotch, who have had that logistical exercise of winning a race after 4 p.m. yesterday in Nagambie, heading to Melbourne Airport, flying up to Sydney to race here in a straight final for the Schoolboy 8 for the Barrington Cup. They're in 3rd spot, followed by Nudgee, who are set to take their crew off to Henley later on this year. And 5th is the Tasmanian head of the river winners, Scotch Oakburn from Launceston. Shore number 2 are in 6th place and Launceston Church Grammar in 7th. And the South Australian head of the river winners, St Peter's College, back in 8th place. Scotch College, of course, winners of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup at the Henley Royal Regatta last year. They were the 3rd Australian crew to win that behind Brisbane Boys College in 1993, the King's School in 2001 when they had Matt Ryan and Nick Hudson and Sam Locke in the crew, and of course last year Scotch College, and they're looming large on the far side of the course. They've now got an overlap with the early race leaders, the Shore School, the yellow boat of the Duncan Free Coach Southport School. They're in 3rd spot ahead of their great rivals Nudgee College. Southport there on 36 strokes a minute. Shore on screen there in the white Hudson shell, 36 strokes a minute also. And so normally see them come down the course at about 34. So Shore have been sort of stonking on it at 34 for the bulk of the season, and now they're a couple of points higher here in the A final of the Schoolboy coxed 8 for the Barrington Cup. They start to move through the 1250 metre mark. It's Shore in the centre of the course. Over on the far side of the course, Scotch College, coached by Tom Woodruff, and then the Duncan Free Coach Southport School there, 3rd from the far side of the course. And Scotch Oakburn putting together a good 3rd 500 metres as they're doing battle with Nudgee College in the race there for a spot in the top 5 here. But it's Shore on screen that still lead by 3/4 of a length over their great rival Scotch College. It was Shore that beat them at the New South Wales Championship. They've only been handed 1 loss this season, Shore, and it was at the New South Wales GPS head of the river, where St Ignatius College beat them and had their first win in 43 years. But through the 1500 metre mark, it is the Shore School that still hold the advantage, and Nudgee have moved up ahead of the Southport School in the race for the bronze medal and are just starting to pick up a seat on them every handful of strokes. So Nudgy have moved up into third spot and only sitting around about a third of a length down on Scotch College over on the far side of the course in red colours. So it is Shaw School leading from Scotch and Nudgy in third, and we'll see if Southport have got a response. They were able to beat Nudgy in this illness run season at the Queensland head of the river, but they're in fourth spot ahead of Scotch Oakburn, and then it is back to St Peter's College, who have moved ahead of Shaw number 2 and Launceston Church Grammar on this side of the course. But the Shaw School, they've won the Barrington Cup many, many times before, and they lead with 150 metres to go. They're coached by David Jennings, and they lead from Scotch College over on the far side of the course. Many great rowers have come from the Shaw School, including the Purnell brothers, Alex Lloyd, Hamish Playfair, Charlie Begg, and many, many more. And the Shaw School are going to take out the Barrington Cup in 2018. Nudgy finishing off strongly, challenging Scotch. But it's Shaw School that take out the Schoolboy 8. Scotch finished second. A fine performance from Nudgy. They've turned the tables on the Southport School, who plays fourth. Fifth goes to Scotch Oakburn. Sixth to St Peter's College, South Australia. And Shaw number 2 are having a great battle with Launceston Church Grammar and just finish ahead of them in the race for 7th and 8th. But Shaw School taking out the Schoolboy 8.
Now the unofficial result in race 474, the A final of the Schoolboys Coxed 8 for the Barrington Cup. First place, the Shaw School, lane 4. Second, Scotch College, Melbourne. Third, St Joseph's Nudgy College. Fourth, the Southport School. Fifth, Scotch Oakburn. Sixth, St Peter's College. Seventh, Shaw, lane 7. And eighth, the Launceston Church Grammar School. Winning time for Shaw, 6:02.89. And their winning margin over Scotch, 2.93 seconds. Presentation of medals for the Schoolgirls Coxed 8 Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Councillor Ross Fowler, representing the Penrith City Council. In third place, and bronze medalists, Methodist Ladies College, Rebecca Wayne, Scarlett Hannah, Sarah Deure, Alice Levin, Kate Morrison, Eve Utenbush, Ruby Gialucas, Mabel Lee, and Taylor Poon. In second place, and silver medalists, St Catherine's School, Sarah Wilson, Juliet Grant, Harriet Dryden, Ali McBain, Annalise Cody. Steph Ferrali. Eleanor Miller. Emily Sutherland. And Lilia Newell. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, Pymble Ladies College. Phoebe Coles. Mackenzie Penn. Eliza Johnson. Eliza Entwistle. Sophia Carmody. India Thompson. Hannah Westhuizen. Olivia Hunt. And Alison Campbell. Please congratulate our 2018 the trophy, the Sydney Cup, will now be presented by Councillor Ross Fowler of the Penrith City Council to Pymble Ladies College. Please congratulate again the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. Back on the course, we are racing in the finals of our last couple of club events. The final of the club women's coxed 8, held by the Sydney Rowing Club, the title. Lane 2, the Australian National University. Lane 3, Melbourne University. Lane 4, Sydney University. Lane 5, Sydney Rowing Club. Lane 6, University of Queensland. Lane 7, University of Technology, Sydney. And Lane 8, Banks Rowing Club.
And it is Sydney University Boat Club that lead. They're third from the far side of the course, and they've got clear water over the rest of the field. And what a place to be. 6.5 seconds over the defending champions, Sydney Rowing Club, who are in the lane alongside of them. They're also beating their great rivals, Melbourne University. So Sydney University will be loving this. They're well clear in their white Felipe shell. Michaela Franz, Sarah Parsons, Jamie Ford, Raquel Cuvas, Ford and Cuvas second in the pair earlier on the week in the under-21 pair. Jess Robinson, Amelia Johnson, Rachel Balcombe, Ella Mentzines, Talia Barnett-Heppels is the coxswain of the crew and coached by Alfie Young. So Sydney University in the white colours with the blue and gold hoops that are leading this one and leading it convincingly. In second spot, Sydney Rowing Club, and they're having a good tussle with the University of Queensland, who are alongside of them in lane at number 6. And then it is back to Banks. UTS are very close with them. ANU have got 4 girls who were bronze medalists in the club women's 4 earlier on today. They're over on the far side of the course in 6th. And back to Melbourne University in final place. And it is Sydney University well clear as they start to make their way up. Then through the 1,500 metre mark. On screen now is the Australian National University. That's Sydney University leading through the 1,500 metre mark, and they lead from Sydney Rowing Club and then back to the University of Queensland. Banks next. Then they've put a bit of a gap into UTS on this side of the course. So Banks in the pink colours on the grandstand side of the course, and they're currently in 4th spot, UTS 5th, ANU 6th, then Melbourne University Boat Club at 6th, and unlikely to improve on that. On screen is Sydney University Boat Club. Their women's side of things with Debbie Fox and Alfie Young leading their programs, and they do a terrific job in developing athletes. Of course, Alfie Young received the award as the Pathways Coach of the Year at the Rowing Australia Awards dinner late last year for his excellent job in transitioning athletes into the National Training Centre. He does a fantastic job at Sydney University Boat Club, and they are well clear in this club women's 8. This title set to stay in New South Wales, but it will change postcode, and it will change postcode to 2066 at Lindley Point, where Sydney University Boat Club lead coming into the last 100 metres. Second, Sydney Rowing Club. Banks have really come home strongly on this side of the course, putting some pressure on the University of Queensland and also Sydney Rowing Club. And it's the blue shell that is flying home on this side of the course. But Sydney University take out the club women's 8. And Sydney Rowing Club in 2nd spot. And University of Queensland have had just enough of a buffer to repel Banks, who will place 4th. 5th will go to the Australian National University, 6th the UTS, and 7th will be Melbourne University Boat Club.
As Melbourne University crossed the finish line, the unofficial results of race 475, the final of the club women's coxed 8. First place, Sydney University. Second, Sydney Rowing Club. Third, the University of Queensland. 4th, Banks. 5th, the Australian National University. 6th, the University of Technology, Sydney. And 7th, Melbourne University. Winning time 6:50.12. The margin 10.43 seconds. Final race before the lunch break, and then on to the Interstate Regatta, of course, is the Club Men's Coxed 8 final. Title held by Melbourne University, who are in this race in lane 3. But it's Mossman on the far side in lane 2. Melbourne University in 3. Sydney Rowing Club lane 4. Toowong are in 5. Second crew from Sydney Rowing Club in lane 6. Sydney University in lane 7. And the University of Technology, Sydney, are racing in lane 8.
It was a great race last year in the club men's 8 with UTS crossing the line first, but were removed from the top of the field in the results, and Melbourne University only hit the second spot and crossed the line in second spot and only hit second with about 3 strokes to go ahead of Sydney Rowing Club. So it was Melbourne University that claimed the title from Sydney.
The presentation of medals for the Schoolboys Coxed 8 Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by John Coates AC, President of the Australian Olympic Committee and Rowing Australia Life member. Third place and bronze medalist, St Joseph's Nudgee College, Sam Green. Dylan Rhodes. Timothy Mark. Leighton Friedrich. Ben McMillan. Riley Blythe. Lucas Matic. Patrick Long. And Jonas Pascoe. In second place, and silver medalists, Scotch College Victoria. William Dixon. James Scott. Sam Hobson. Fraser Miscamble. Timothy Nothnagel. Harrison Miller. Marcus Cameron. Marcus Emmett. And Archie Gill. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, the Shaw School. Scott Martin. Thomas Woodworth. Finn Blake. Max Durham. Zane Carboni. Jake Martin. Thomas Galloway. Tom Anderson. And Harry Keenan. The Barrington Cup will now be presented by Mr. John Coates, AC. And for the first time this year, we also have a trophy for the overall boys' school point score, and the winner of that, to be presented also by Mr. Coates, is the Shaw School. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. And the final stages of the club men's coxed 8 on the water. Here's Owen.
Thanks, Richard. Great race going on here. Sydney Rowing Club have led for the bulk of it, and it's a strong crew here with Alex Lloyd, who was part of the Australian men's pair in the Rio Games, that placed 6th in that boat. And he's there with Chris Morgan as well, who was 7th in the double scull in Rio and a bronze medalist in the quad scull from the London Games. UTS are finishing this one off very strongly indeed. They're going blow for blow with Sydney University on this side of the course. And Melbourne University, who have been in second place for much of the race, are trying to hold on from the two crews in lanes 7 and 8. Mossman over on the far side of the course. It's been a while since we've seen a Mossman men's 8, and they're coming down in fifth position and trying to challenge the crews right on this side of the course. But a Sydney Rowing Club that have the advantage by only about a third of a boat length, and they'll hold on from Melbourne University. Mossman are going to come through for the bronze medal just ahead of a very close 4th and 5th race between Sydney University and UTS. I think University may just have edged out UTS. And then they're followed by 6th place Toowong, 7th Sydney number 2. In a great club men's coxed 8 race won by Sydney Rowing Club.
The unofficial results up there in the club men's coxed 8 final. 1st Sydney Rowing Club, 2nd Melbourne University, 3rd Mossman, 4th Sydney University, 5th University of Technology Sydney, 6th Toowong, and 7th also the Sydney Rowing Club. The winning crew from Sydney was the lane 4 combination. Their time 5:59.91 and winning margin 1.22 seconds in the final of the club men's coxed 8. The former president of Rowing Australia and the inaugural winner of the girls' school overall point score is the Stewart Holmes School from Queensland. Please congratulate Stewart Home, the inaugural winners of the girls' overall point score trophy. Third place and bronze medalists, the University of Queensland. Hannah Lonergan. Clara Jansen. Alison King. Sabina Murchie. Elizabeth Newell. Camille Shabuan. Lucy Stevens. Mackenzie Durbridge. And Lily Powell-Lunny. In second place, and silver medalists, Sydney Rowing Club. Madeline Farah. Brianna Caputo. Neve Graham. Eleanor Disney. Madison Brown. Crystal Piper. Alice Clifton, Isabel Furrer, and Hannah Cowup. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, Sydney University Boat Club. Michaela Franz, Sarah Parsons, Jamie Ford, Raquel Cuevas, Jess Robinson, Amelia Johnson, Rachel Balcom, Ella Menzies, Talia Barnett Heppels, please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists. Presentation of medals for the Club Men's Coxed 8 Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by John Boltby AM, Rowing Australia Life Member. In third place, and bronze medalists, Mossman Rowing Club. Patrick Burke, Nicholas Pender, Torben Ungemach, Luke Rossi, Justin Brown, Zachary Noble, Mitch Blackmore Cram, Connor Hopkins, and Gabby Angus. Second place and silver medalists, Melbourne University Boat Club. Gregor Feinschnack, Tim Winkler, Hamish Rowlands, Gary Butcher, Isaac Smith, Nicholas Stevenson, Sam Morrison, Jonathan Hookway, and Tisan Koo. The gold medalists and Australian champions for 2018, Sydney Rowing Club. Harry Crouch, Michael Benarius, Dylan Boakes, Clinton Boltman, Christopher Morgan, Alexander Lloyd, Edward White, Alexander Potter, and Charlie Nicholas. Please congratulate the 2018 Australian champions and medalists.